Cool. Here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday afternoon, ready to do some podcasting. This is a feedback episode, so it's where we talk about whatever it is that you wanted to talk about, that we talked about already, but you probably want to hear us talk about it again for some reason.
Yep.
Or you just want us to hear what you had to think about, which is fine, because that's what we do this show for. The official weapon of the show is...
Oh, shit. I fucked up last time. Folded chair.
That's right. We're back to two days without any accidents.
Folding chair. I'm sorry for the people that keep it count. We had to reset to 0 because I went in autopilot mode and I forgot.
The official sport?
Bullet ball.
A bullet ball. Extreme. All right, you know what it is, man. We got to get to all the stuff you have to say. So let's just first start with the first segment, which is us showing some love to the people that showed us love by giving us money. They just straight up gave us money. You go to the blackouttips.com. You look on the right-hand side of the website. If you're on a phone, you turn your phone sideways.
Yes.
And you can contribute to the show by donating, supporting the show in any amount. We don't care. It's recurring or it can be one time, whatever. You getting your shout out. We're going to show you some love. And we're going to have the choir play you a little song when we give you a praise.
Yay.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Today's a new day. New handouts, new shout outs. Let's get it. Don G, recurring donator. Thank you very much, Don. Pete B, Johanna M, Douglas R, Laura F. We got a one-time donation from Nathaniel E. W. Nathaniel E. W. Thank you, Nathaniel. Appreciate you visiting our church. Chris from Hawaii. Corey A. Particular. April G. Tabitha M. Alexis H. Marlon B. Yes, Marlon B. Josh Wonga from down under. Good day, mate. All the way from Australia. And Tanya S. rounds out the donators for this week. Thank you, everybody that put a little something on our books, on our commissary. Let us go get us some ramen noodles.
It.
All right. No 5-star reviews this week. Okay, the last one we got, ironically, was on 9/11. So never forget what y'all did. Some of y'all did forget.
So yes, y'all did.
Y'all forgot to give us 5-star reviews.
And like we've been saying, you have no excuse. I know some of y'all are like, I'm an Android, a Samsung, whatever. Apple said we got you. So now you go to website. You don't even have to go through any Apple thing. You just go on the web, create an account, and leave us a 5-star review. We know y'all out there. Y'all love us. So leave us a review.
Leave me a damn review. All right? You owe me that much.
It's absolutely free.
Honestly, just for the feedback show alone, forget Karen for a second. Y'all owe me a 5-star review because I'll be reading up to 2-3 hours of y'all's thoughts.
Now
you know when I started this show, I didn't give a fuck about y'all. I started this so I could get my thoughts out. So I sacrifice my voice every week for some of y'all to just be like, I can wait. No, leave my 5-star review. All right. We got 8 comments on our first episode, which is, of course, a feedback episode. It starts with 3 comments from the same person.
Apia.
Correct.
Yay.
Getting paid in Germany. The only ways I got paid in Germany were direct deposit of cash. There were no other ways. I'm exactly as old as Rod. I'm so glad that Kamala is so good in this. Well, actually, you know what, Apia? Nice try, buddy. You see, try to slide that on in there because you want to be right. And I feel you. I like being right as well, which is why I Googled Germany and checks. And it turns out you do have checks in Germany, just not as many. So while you may not have had any checks, apparently it's because back in the day when they was using checks, you just didn't have a check job. but apparently y'all did have checks, because I was like, I've never heard I don't know how a country would operate never having had checks ever. At some point, a motherfucker had to be like, I got it. I ain't got it on me.
I feel it's like, I got the 5. Cash only, baby. Before direct deposit happened.
At some point, someone in your country, wherever you are in the world, was like, I got it. I don't got it on me. I'm going to write down this slip of paper. You go somewhere where they do got the money. They going to give you the money. That's just life. So, I don't, nice. You never seen a check. Got it. But I'm just saying, I've seen checks, and I thought you was a little more knowledgeable and worldly than that, but I guess not all of us can get around in the circles that I get around in. Okay, not everybody I dealt with always had the money all the time, and vice versa.
She did. She had cash.
Some of us can't be rich, big pharma people.
Right? We don't got them big pharma dollars. Dollar bill, y'all.
I'm so glad that Kamala is so good in this. She was everything. She was everything that it takes. She is smart, charming, strategic. She has charisma. I believe her that she really cares about the issues. I sometimes think about her before falling asleep and thank her for doing such a good job. The empath thing. How I learned to feel empathy for myself is remembering that I'm also a normal human, and if I was someone else who was looking at me from the outside, I would easily feel empathetic. Yeah, I do that too. That's something I had to remind myself of, because I would let my inside voice talk to me crazy, and I was like, I would never talk to anyone like that. No, like no one that I cared about in my life, if they came to me and asked for advice or they just needed some encouragement, my outside voice would always be gentle and encouraging, for the most part. And then to talk to myself scathingly was just, I was like, where does that come from? But that's working on self-esteem. That's like, that's some hard interior work shit. And I did a lot of work in therapy, a lot of like exercises and stuff she gave me to take home, and worked on that stuff so that I don't feel that way towards myself anymore. Or if I have any bouts with that, I'm able to kind of talk myself out of that. So it was important to me.
Yeah, and also the way I feel about myself has changed and evolved over the years too. The way I feel about myself now, my self-esteem is through the roof. How I feel about myself personally, what you think about me and your opinion about me, how I feel about my self-esteem has to be irrelevant to me in order for me to function. Because the thing is, I didn't always love myself. I didn't always praise myself. I didn't always give myself the credit that I deserve for the things that I did. And once you kind of jump over that hurdle, you'll get to the point where people's opinions about you, not that they won't matter at all, it's just going to be a smaller circle of people's opinions that matter about you. And the circle are going to be people that actually impact and count in your life. Like they actually matter to you. Everybody else is going to be irrelevant because everybody has an opinion and everybody thinks that they know what's right for you. But this journey in life is yours and yours alone, and nobody can take your walk of life but you.
She says, this is how I operate maybe for the last 10 years or so, and the side effect is that other people seem to be into this situation a lot, and I get really lots of love from others, like family, friends, and coworkers. Try the self-love thing, people, is pretty cool. By the way, a needle in a coal mine would also not be easy to find.
It wouldn't be. That's why my brain said that.
With the bad light and all. I love Karen's creativity with the language and will never forget the expression dogmatic. She says... She also says, I accidentally talked with my father about American politics because I never talk about politics with him for good reason, my mental health. Me, I like Kamala. My father, she has said lots of stupid shit. Me, what and when? My father, I have no example now, but I heard it was stupid. Me, could it be that you watch too much Russian propaganda? My father, no, you watch too much propaganda, Appia. Great talk, but at least... Me, do you think Donald Trump is a better choice? My father, what? He is so awful, I wouldn't even consider him a human. Every word out of his mouth is stupid, and he is a huge embarrassment and a pile of shit. So I guess my father also likes Kamala? Sounds like he don't like both of them, but he likes her less. I mean, dislikes her less.
Right.
So, whatever. He don't vote here, so I could give a fuck. Like, that's your daddy to deal with. Sean says... Sean from Japan reporting from Abu Dhabi. Just wanted to drop my experience on printers. I moved to the Epson Eco Tank, which doesn't use cartridges. It works great, and the ink situation is so much cheaper and further between refills. Oh, also I use Google Doc List to keep track of what season I'm on and what shows I plan to watch. Works great. Cool. Yeah, I'm not doing all that. Like, honestly, like the way I'm with TV at this point, I'm cool with that. Sometimes the spirit hits me.
Right. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't do this often, but I'll be like, oh yeah, Roger, what was that show? He'll give me the name, and then I just go watching randomly 5 years later. That's what I did with Captain Carter. Captain Carter had been off the air, and I just randomly felt like watching it one day. I can't explain it, don't know why, but I was just in the mood to watch it.
DJ Java says, I'm sorry, LOL. I'll send just the beat without the piece of shit on it. I'm also going through my emails. I'll send you over a list of beats. I'll send you big love. Thank you, dog. Rona Raphael says, it's not a Marvel or House of the Dragon show. If it's not Marvel or House of the Dragon show, 90% of the time I'll be behind. I was about to move on into our current place 2 years ago and said I'll catch up on Stranger Things after moving. About to finish Chaos and just caught up with Rings of Power. Have I caught up with Stranger Things? Nope. Any particular reason why? Nope. I do blame Netflix though, because once in a while I decide today's the day I will visit Stranger Things like Leonardo DiCaprio does to a brand new 19-year-old. As soon as I open my profile, what's this? Supercell. Next thing I binged it. Open your eyes, people. The real white man devil is Netflix. Shit. I also binge Slow Horses. The Devils are also Apple too. Who am I kidding? I'm finally about to finish Preacher on Netflix. I'll make it to Stranger Things one day. I've somehow been able to avoid spoilers. We need a pumpkin spice song, don't you think? That last sentence had nothing to do with the other ones. But I would accept a pumpkin spice song, of course.
Yes.
EVE says, with all the streaming services I have in addition to cable, I'm always behind on shows. I'm still trying to catch up from shows from last season. I almost kind of wish for a time that we only had 3 channels because I'm so overwhelmed, but I have fear of missing out on all the new shows people are talking about. It's Catch 22. Yeah, I think what's interesting for me is because of how much it drains me, these online discussions of content, and how, not to be a jerk, but how fucking boring and depressing everybody is about it. It would be one thing if it was like, people just mostly talked about what they like. Then I think I would do a little more community discussions and writing in and checking in and texting with my friends and stuff like that. That has not been my experience. It's been a lot of even the stuff that I feel like people are lying, saying they hate, but they're back every week because they love it, low key. But it's more fun to drag it than to say they like it. That shit just, I don't know. It just drains my batteries, and so I think I haven't missed, and I'm surprisingly have not missed talking to people about this stuff. So sometimes I will even purposely wait months to years to go and check something out that I really was looking forward to, just so that I don't have to worry about the discussion, because everybody's had it already, the ups and the downs of it. And especially because discussion in this time period is a lot of hot takes. There's a lot of what would get me the most attention, saying that The Bear is not as good as all these Emmys is getting, or saying The Bear is a piece of shit show, is garbage and dog shit, and I don't even know why anybody watches it. Why would you even fucking like it? Obviously the latter is the more comedic, more inflammatory take. So I very rarely feel that way about anything. So it's just easier for me to be like, I'll wait till everybody's done doing their thing, and then I'll watch it 2-3 years later and be like, oh yeah, this episode was good, or man, I like this person's performance. And normally, since there's been enough time, they've mellowed out, and if they choose to talk to me about it, they're more mellowed out. They're not as hot as when it was in the zeitgeist and they felt like they needed to have a hot take.
I 100% agree. And being on the internet as long as I have, there are some incidents that just broke me. And I was like, I'm out. And when I said I was out, I meant it. And it was, for me, I think the Game of Thrones stuff broke me. I was like, you know what? This is too much. I don't need to be here. Y'all motherfuckers, particularly with a lot of the book readers. Y'all motherfuckers are crazy. You're goddamn insane. You don't have no balance here, particularly online, that interaction online when everybody was watching it all at the same time. It was a lot for me personally, for my mental health. I stopped. And so when I stopped, I just stopped interacting. Like Roger would tell you now, when we watch shit, I don't live tweet. I just watch it and enjoy it for what it is, because at the end of the day, not trying to be funny, I don't give a fuck about your opinion about something that I consumed. I either liked it or I didn't. And also what I realized too is that anytime, particularly online, because like Roger said, it's depressed hive mind. Anytime you say you like something, some motherfucker feel like they got to come and tell you and talk you out of the shit you liked. I don't give a fuck about your opinion. So because this is just me personally, I'm just not going to engage, because anytime you put anything out online, people feel like they have an obligation or a right to interact with you, which they do. So I've opted not to put it out there, so I don't have to deal with the interaction in the first place.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a normal thing for people to want interaction. I think what the biggest difference between us is that we have an outlet with this podcast. So for a lot of people, social media is their outlet.
Agreed.
So the hot take is what gets the attention. I choose to try to be funny most of the time rather than do the hot take thing. I don't like the hot take thing, especially if it's something I don't believe. It's just not really a point to it. But if I can be funny and get interaction, I'm fine. Like I'm totally cool with that. So it's just different people's style. They don't have an outlet, so they just out here talking shit.
Right.
All right, let's get to the YouTube channel. See if we had any comments on this one. 2 comments. Joe Smith says, these child support bros are pathetic. They should be concerned about reducing single family homes. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. I've talked about this at length. I hate that this is something that a specific group of black men have decided is a black man issue. I think it's a really pathetic thing to because a lot of them sound like, why should I have to pay any amount of money towards a kid unless that kid is living in my house full time? So essentially, once I drop this sperm off, what the fuck is my responsibility? I should just be able to do whatever fuck I want to do for the rest of my life. Right. And I find that so disgusting. Mm-hmm. And the fulfillment of so many racial stereotypes that I think do not apply to black men, but these brothers it's like they wanted to apply. And there's a lot of psychology and therapy and shit that a lot of these motherfuckers really need. We used to have a dude on our show as a guest every once in a while, and we kind of broke ties with him because I noticed over the years, like, yo, you have very serious issues with black women. You're always downing them, like sometimes under auspices of jokes, but I mean, I don't know, 10 years of jokes, at some point I have to say, that's serious. You know, like, this is a real issue. And you know, I think he took it kind of personal that I felt that way. But once again, if you're gonna be in my hemisphere, you're gonna be in my atmosphere, I can't be pulling punches while you're shitting on black women and be like, well, look, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Well, you didn't give a fuck about them black women's feelings you were hurting. You're calling them hood rats and hoochies and hoes and shit. You're blaming them for all the plight of the black community. You're absolving all the men of any responsibility. That kind of thing to me is, in addition to just being like reprehensible morally, is also tired and played out. So yeah, the child support bros, it's so sad that there's some people that are proud to be in that camp, but they don't represent me. And the vast majority of black men I know personally in my life, they not like that. Right. And I can't speak for everybody. I'm sure there's groups that are like this, but just in my life, I don't know anybody that would be fucking proud to not take care of their kid and not contribute anything to their household and not be a father. Like maybe they would be ashamed of it. Like, maybe if there was somebody doing that and I didn't know about it because they didn't want to talk about it, that would make more sense to me.
That happens more
than these motherfuckers that do shit like this. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that happens more than people think. And also, all jokes aside, sometimes I think a lot of those people that are loud online would not do that in real life. Like, if you was to meet them in real life, they would not hold up this banner. They would not be rah, rah, rah. They just wouldn't. I think online allows people to spew bullshit that if I met you face to face and had to look you in the goddamn eye, you would feel fucking ashamed because you know it's stupid, you know it's dumb, you know it's not responsible, and people have been on your ass, people that personally know you about taking care of your responsibilities.
I think it's that like red pill manosphere thing that made stuff that I consider to be, to be a little toxic myself, bitch made. Like a lot of these dudes to me are expressing the most bitch made sentiments that make me lose respect for them as a man.
Right.
And in that information silo, in that community in quotes, it's the opposite. They like, yeah, right, like you shouldn't have to take care of your kid. And I'm like, I can't think of something that would make me lose more respect for a human being in my life than a dude telling me, why should I have to take care of this kid? Like, I'd be like, what the are you serious? Mm-hmm. So like, it's that, and I think you're right that it's, online.
Yeah. And to kind of go deeper, which is, we've kind of talked about this. A lot of these dudes, they like to fuck women, but they don't like women. Mm-hmm. And so they fuck these women, but they actually don't like them, nor respect them, nor treat them as human beings. So anything that comes from the results of their interaction, fuck that too, because that's an extension of this woman that I don't like. So if I don't like this woman and I disrespect her offspring, even if I contributed to it, I don't like them too. So it's fuck her and fuck them too, because anything I give to her, which I don't like, the children are going to benefit from it, but the children are collateral damage of me not liking her. And once you understand it, it's very, 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 very simple to get down to the root cause of the problem. They don't like women, and if you ask them about it and confront them about it, they will tell you, I love my mom and my sister. I'm not talking about them. Right. But you still don't like women.
Yeah, I agree. AC says great. It says 7-star review. Official space office space facts reenactment. I can see Karen pulling back Rod from the HP printer after stomping it to oblivion. Good to be a gangster instrumental with the HP listener feedback voiceover. LOL, y'all. P.S. You smoked that Apple Jordan preamble. Thank you. I appreciate you, AC. A lot of people don't appreciate my genius in real time. The poll is, are you constantly behind on TV? 89% of our audience says yes. 12% say no.
Right, because
that's I think everyone's constantly behind.
Yes, and also it's one of those things where it's the FOMO, it's the pressure being online, and anytime you say you're watching something, everybody come with 50 more things for you to watch. So for a lot of people, that can become overwhelming too, where they be like, I'm just telling you what I'm watching. I'm glad you like your shit, let me watch mine, but everybody feels like if I'm watching it, they feel like you have to watch it too, and everything that you watch and you feel like everybody else has to watch it too, so everybody pressures everybody else to watch all the shit. So now all of a sudden it's homework, and when something becomes homework and y'all already working a full-time job with kids and shit like this, you're like, oh, this is too much.
All right, let's play one of these beats. All right, I'm not sure who this one is from. Let me see. Oh, we can do a Psycho Music beat. He always put his name in it. This is They Don't Hear Me Cry.
Psycho Music.
All right. Episode 2976, we had Chris Lambert on as our guest. The episode is called Coon Signing, which in hindsight, I can't believe that person left a comment saying I took it easy on those. We took it too easy on shits and giggles. We named the episode Coon Signing, literally calling them coons for co-signing Andrew Schultz. I really don't know what people be wanting from us. Anyway, Erica says, I appreciate the commentary that Chris Lambert provided on dating. It's a terrible climate out here. It's so hard to find reciprocity or simply someone who doesn't want to play around. I appreciate the love Chris expressed towards black women. It feels that we're often the punching bag. I'm familiar with shits and giggles. Hoping the laughter was, I don't know how to respond, rather than agreeing with Andrew Schultz, who historically has had some bullshit takes. Yeah, and I do think it was, I don't know how to respond, I'm uncomfortable, fight or flight, as they admitted to. And low key, they might agree with that shit. I'm not saying they wouldn't. They don't, like, I'm not trying to paint them as such upstanding, like, warriors for black women. But what I mean is that they could agree with that, but be like, I would never express that on a podcast at this point because I'm scared, because at this point we've blown up because of so many black women supporting us. We know where our bread is buttered, and you're about to fuck up the bread.
Yes,
so
yes, you are. Fuck up our money.
Yeah, so I could see them, even if they secretly were like, yeah, right, black women are the worst. It would not be profitable for them to be saying that. That's why, as much as people are trying to like pull out all this evidence on them, that's why I think it's kind of funny that there's only a couple of clips of them saying anything that like even close to like, damn. But it's but the reason I say it's kind of not fun, ironic that there's only a couple of clips. If you look at those clips seem to be from back before black women in America glommed onto them and said, these are some good brothers. Meaning, you know, you glom onto a podcast, you don't always go back and watch every last episode. You don't remember every last thing.
Yep, depending on when you jumped in.
It was clearly before their glow up. So what it makes me feel like is their glow up happened because of black women, many of them being American black women. And so now they wouldn't say that shit, but that doesn't mean that they feel differently. They just it would be dumb to say some shit like that now. Whereas back when they were just coming in the game and they were just saying how they really felt and who's really gonna be listening to this, we're not making a living off of it. I mean, though they apparently had a couple clips back then that were fucked up. Appia says, coming home to our white woman household is definitely not how some think. First, we have no martini. Secondly, I'm always for work more, so Mr. Appia will get good to be home instead of an instant blowjob, and I absolutely can get mad. It's all these stereotypes always make white women sound like a fucking breath of fresh air, and
their person is stupid.
Every white woman listening to this podcast understands, like, one, no, I'm not. Right? Every white woman listens like, no, I'm not fucking, you know, I dream of genie and shit.
Correct.
But the other part is it is as much of a fetish and dehumanization and lack of humanity, even to be put on a pedestal. I think what people will accept that, and some people want that. That's why some black men really like this idea of being the BBC, the bull, the black sexual thing. Like, it's fetishization, but at least it's some level of what do you call it? Like wanting and seeing praise. Yeah, it's some level of esteem that they're being put in, and they'll accept that shit. There's like, well, fuck it, at least I'm getting something out of it. And I know many a dude that does feel that way. And white women, I think, very similarly, even with it being kind of dehumanizing to see white women and this, like, not really a 3D person. You just see them as like a cardboard cutout of what it means to have whiteness and to obtain a certain status in America, and I guess across the pond too. That's dehumanizing too, but there's some white women, I'm sure, that like that shit. That's why, you know, you look at some of these athletes, prominent athletes, and you see them with white women that are like MAGA white women, and it's like, oh, he must be okay, but he just wants him a white woman. And this is part of it for him. There's no line for him where he would be like, nah, that's too much. He's like, long as she's a certain type of white woman, I'm into that. But yeah, it's very dehumanizing. Last week I was away for work. We got to know something about the history of the place and also something about old school dating. It was bad. The one girl who was 22 had to marry a 15-year-old French king, Louis the X5, 15th, or I guess, yeah, 15th. And even at the wedding, he was too busy to be present and send some other guy to fill in, so they only met afterwards, and he fell in love so hard that he only took a mistress when she was pregnant and not prior, and that's supposed to be a good thing. The other girl had to travel with her mother and two sisters to a Russian czar for 3 months in a carriage, and the czar could choose one of the sisters to marry. The loser had to travel back the same way, and the lucky sister had to stay with the czar and never see them again. Yeah, that's interesting. And those are the princesses. You know what I mean? That's not even just a regular lady.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to date, but I had to. But if I had to, at least men would ghost me without my mother being involved or some weird, I'm too busy to be present at the wedding, so I'm just sending a random guy instead.
Sending a substitute.
Well, what I think is funny is that in this scenario, you pulled out 2 princesses or some shit. And I'm like, regular women was getting it much harder than that, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. It was just a motherfucker that had a goddamn plow and a cow up the street that came
Here's
to your...
my daughter and 3 sheep.
Came to your father and said, I'll give him these cows and ducks. And
right.
I'm going to sit on the porch and talk to her for 30 minutes, and then you got to give me the blessing. And your ass was getting married because you couldn't go to school, couldn't have a bank account.
Right.
Was basically just living in a house, raising your siblings like you were their parent. And that's how you learned your skills in life, because that's all the fuck you was ever supposed to be. And so I'm sure that the princesses probably had it better than the regular people, and the regular people ain't have it good either.
Right.
Erica says, I would have been salty if I was part of that Jane Addiction show. Can we get the bag and throw hands later? Yeah, they had to cancel the tour and shit, I think. Like, I wonder what happens with that. Like, do you just replace that dude like with a different singer or what? Like, that's crazy. Rona Raphael says, shout out to Chris Lambert. He's a good brother and a great guy. I love that brother. Me and him go way back. However, why did he got to recommend Tyrese on Club Shay Shay? Until I get free Club Shake Shack chicken, I'm gonna be still mad. Ain't chickens dying every day? How do you not write into Chris's show with this?
That's hilarious.
He didn't say anything about Tyrese and Club Shay Shay, did he? On our show? Did he recommend it?
I don't know.
I feel like he recommended this on the Mundane Festival, and Ronan Raphael is mad at him on the Blackout Tip. You're right about the Schultz guy being lazy comedy. Fuck him. A friend sent me a video from a Nigerian making fun of an older black jazz artist here. Asked him why it was funny. He said it just is, but she didn't realize her own people in Nigeria have famous musicians who do their version of what they used to laugh at the jazz artist. Nothing constructive, just looking down on someone and claiming it funny. The shit gets old with me fast. I can't even think of a fuck them music to ask. Yeah, I mean, the thing that's interesting about Schultz is, because like I said, I'm not really I'm not a crusader in this way. I don't really hold Andrew Schultz in high esteem. I think what he does is not for me.
Right.
I think there's a type of guy that likes that. There's a type of black guy that likes that. There's a type of black dude that'll sit up on there with him and let him do that shit. I just know I'm not that guy. I wouldn't want my brand to be tied up in a guy that does what he does. I wouldn't go on his show if I was invited. It's just there's nothing to be gained for me there, and I approach life with a little bit more intellectual rigor, a little bit more integrity, a little bit more than that, and that means our show's not for everybody. There's people that listen to both our shows, I'm sure, because there's always crossover with that stuff. People used to listen to Brilliant Idiots and write us about them and all that stuff. So. As I've said before, Charlemagne's had his people reach out to us to try to have him on the show more than once. But I think what most people struggle with, that I have not struggled with, is just, you got to know your brand. You got to know yourself, man. Like, even back in the day when Charlemagne asked that, I said no, because, and it's not like a flex, like I told that nigga no. I'm saying like, no, because I don't want the headaches of you over here doing what you do, and then people coming to me like, why do you allow him to do that? It's kind of like signing with Diddy or some shit, where you like, you now when the shit goes down, when something fucked up happens, here you are being like, yeah, I was in all the videos and the pictures and all this stuff, but they ain't got nothing to do with me. It's just not worth it to me, you know? And there's other people that are worth it to me, that like, not everybody that we know and fuck with is like 100% on our side of every issue. But I don't know, Schultz and stuff like that is just not that kind of comedy doesn't do it for me. And there's gonna always be a type of person seeking that kind of comedy, you know? I think that's why Patrice O'Neal is so revered by a lot of people, is because he could say some really edgy stuff. I think he was smarter than a lot of these people that kind of try to get in his lane now that he's died.
Right.
I think he was better about how he expressed stuff, but there's a lot of people that just worship that and want that back, and so I think Andrew Schultz is emblematic of that. And yeah, I have some other thoughts about what he does and how much of it borrows off of and imitates blackness without respecting it.
Right.
But once again, I don't think he or the people around him think like that. So why would he be bothered? Evie says, I'm not familiar with Andrew Schultz, but I was a listener to Shits and Gigs until last week. They let that alabaster alligator play in their face, and at first I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but the more that keeps coming out about them, the more I have to side eye them, unfollowed and disappointed. I feel you. You know what's interesting too is they went on that show a while ago, supposedly. Like, that's like, I don't know, man. Something about I don't know. There's something about that that's, I can't put my finger on it, but like, how this came to be is so interesting. Like, I think from my understanding, they went on like a Horrible Decisions podcast or something, like one of these podcasts where it's like, a couple black women talking about fucking people and shit like that. Those are also, the fucking people podcast is also a popular lane. Mm-hmm. And I think they went on there, and I think they said, or maybe it wasn't Horrible Decisions, I'm sorry, but whatever show they went on, I think they said something about how there's not any baddies in Atlanta. There was more baddies in Seattle or something like that, which sparked this, like, obviously backlash, because that is very coded towards black women, because black women are the baddies of Atlanta. If you close your eyes and say, imagine a baddie from Atlanta, it's going to be a black woman, because it's considered a pretty fucking black city. So I think when they said that, and I think those women were from Houston, I think. And so I think when they didn't like speak up for those black women in Atlanta, people came at those women, to which those women being from America was like, fuck it, I said what I said. I ain't from Atlanta, so y'all defend yourselves. I'm from Houston. Which I think this is how they got out of that. I don't know if anybody's coming for them. But it seems like that shit sparked people that had already marked a couple clips.
Yeah.
And they went back, because I don't think that Andrew Schultz podcast was like that recent. Like, it did not go viral on its own. It went viral because of people looking for something to finally get their ass on. So that's why it's interesting to me. It's like, because I wouldn't call it manufactured outrage. That's not fair. But it is something like motherfuckers was waiting on that moment. I got a homie that he's this way with Sarah Silverman. Like, he looks past all this other shit, racism, people that are completely fucked up. But for some reason, Sarah Silverman sets his ass off. He wait anytime she on the Summer Jam screen, he can't wait to and don't forget this one. Remember when she said, and it's funny because I think a lot of us have people like that. We're just, for whatever reasons, like, I'm glad that it's their day, because let me tell you what else they did, And so I guess they got caught up like that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I wonder when that fucking podcast was done, like how long ago it was, because
it had to be a while ago, because it sounded like it was a tour that they did. They been back to overseas, and they probably hadn't even thought it twice about it.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway. Oh well. Let's see. We had YouTube comments on this one. Coon signing. Let's see. We got 6 comments. Steph Curry endorsed Kamala, says Joe Smith. We love to see it. I think because I was saying you're not going to see very many athletes that actually endorse a candidate. Most of them just promote voting. And shout out to Steph for breaking that mold and being one of the ones that do. I'm of the mind that I just praise the people who do stuff like that. I don't denigrate the ones who don't.
Right.
Lamont says, damn, bruh, y'all ninjas look dead alike. I'm assuming he thinks me and Chris Lambert look alike. That's fine. Mm-hmm. We would be brothers from another.
I can see that.
Steve-O, learning gives me hope, says Shanna's Journey. Yeah. I mean, it is nice. I think people can be so hard on social media because everybody did all this reading and knows all the terms, but it actually kind of dope that when a motherfucker that's ignorant like that, somebody we don't think of as a rigorous intellectual is like, oh yeah, I talked to somebody, and just being a natural human being with empathy, realized that was stupid how I was thinking, and I won't be doing that anymore.
Agreed.
Joe says, thank you guys for speaking in defense of black women. Well, it's funny because it's, same show that apparently doesn't go hard enough. Like, what are we really? And this is for the episode with Chris Lambert. Shannon's Journey also says, laugh my ass off, love y'all so much. And Jason Jasper says, let's be clear, only the blackout tips can give you the most negative man in comedy one week, JL Covan, then turn around to give you the most positive man in comedy next week, Chris Lambert. Those two are my absolute favorites. All four of you already work too much, but I wish we could get more collabs from all four of you. It would be four wildly different temperaments in one spot. Chris has a lot of true crime victim characteristics as well. He lights up too many rooms. Love the show. Aw,
that's sweet.
Yeah. I'll think about, because I haven't really double booked guests in a long time, but because we're all so wordy and have so much shit to say and so much to get to. But and don't forget, Chris and JL have podcasts, and Chris often will reach out and have JL on, especially around movie and award season time. So let's get to the poll. The poll was Andrew Schultz, yay, nay, or meh. No yays from our audience. 74% say nay and 26% say meh. And let me just say this too, like, I always find it funny when people like this get introduced to a lot of people that weren't fucking with them, right? Because like the reaction of a lot of folks is like, just stop caring, nigga. You go first. You cannot care that everybody else is saying I don't like what I'm seeing from this guy. Right. Everybody could not care if they didn't want to care, but motherfuckers care, and this is what happens in the zeitgeist when shit just pops off. And you're introduced to a bunch of motherfuckers that don't really fuck with you, and they let you know why. I've been aware of Schultz and what he does over there. I've never been a fan, but it was definitely like a huge thing to not talk about for that week. So I get why everybody chimed in. And guess what? You give it a week, give it a month, everybody's gonna go back to not caring, because they're not gonna keep harping on this guy and harassing him. So,
they're gonna move on, and him and his audience is gonna move on too until something else happens.
Yeah, if any, I don't think he'll move on, because he courts this kind of thing. Like, they did a follow-up video to Shits and Giggles apology where they laughed at the apology and then made fun of them and then said they shouldn't even apologize. So I don't think he'll move on if he can milk something else out of it.
Agreed.
But he'll move on once there's nothing, like, if there's nothing left to talk about, no one else is reacting, then sure. But it's kind of, it's good for his brand. If you like him, you should be happy that this happened, because it's good for his brand to be like, look at everybody getting mad at me, now watch me not give a fuck. That's so I don't even understand the whole, like, just leave it alone. Like, nah, everybody's just playing their part. 2977, the gym assist, Ronan Raphael says, I see my brethren, they don't want you to know that these episodes exist, but I do. Maybe it's the combo of my booster and flu shot that got me seeing that 5G. As for the Brit Bros, I met the brother who owns the production company behind their podcast and a couple other big ones in the UK during the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival last year. Very left-leaning and black coy. I guess I don't know if coy is like slang for something. I recommended one of their newest productions with two of the UK's top black journals behind a paywall recently. So that's why I was surprised to see the lads on Schultz. If the owner of their production, COY, is that company? I don't know, shows up to the next Afro Audios, I'll ask him. That company is contracted by the BBC and other British media to produce content now. That's how big it's gotten. So except his company no longer handles behind the scenes for these lads, I can't be as hard as I normally would. But from the content I've seen, it was good that the boys apologized quick and a good one. The other podcasters with the company might have been like, what the fuck? Maybe not the hip hop one, if you know, you know. Especially the political ones, they are huge and left. Yeah, and honestly, like that apology like that, I think I said when we played it, only thing they'll tell is just change behavior over time, right? I think that if it's just to mitigate like the losses you're experiencing, it'll show up another place. It'll be like, y'all really didn't give a fuck because a month later you said this or whatever. The other thing I would say is, even if you genuinely do mean it, and you are sorry and you do plan to do better, you still gonna lose some people.
Yeah, because the thing about apologies, just because you put it out there, that does not mean people have to accept it.
And some you may lose for a time, some for forever. But as a podcaster myself, I'm gonna be real, man. You have to be accepting of loss all the time.
Yes.
Like there's people like I'll tell you what, every time someone cancels anything for our premium stuff or recurring donations, I get an email. It's just to let me know, like, hey, don't be expecting this money anymore, blah, blah, blah. So that is, what have we been doing this over 12 years, 14 years. We've been doing this 14, 15 years. I get that email. I can't have any attachment to it. I can't be like, nah, not them. I don't know what's happening in their lives.
Right.
I don't know what's up with their money. They could have been moved on, be listening to something else. Could be they heard something they disagree with. Could be they just found a better version of this podcast in their minds and they're ready to move on. Mm-hmm. It could be anything.
Right.
So this comment lost them a lot of people at once, but in general, if you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't apologize if the only point is I just want to get these people back. That's a mistake. If you're gonna apologize, it needs to be because you really feel genuinely I fucked up and I plan to do better. And if that's the case, and you just gonna take that L and continue to do your work, and we'll see.
Agreed.
And I think in general, a lot of these guys, a lot of people get by in life, period, without doing a lot of reading, being very intellectually curious, without being tuned in and tapped into a lot of the stuff that we talk about. And it's because it's almost impossible when you talk about a lot and you talk all the time and you talk about a bunch of topics. But a lot of people just don't do the reading, is what I like to call it. You just don't do the reading. Like, why do you, like, when you say stuff like black women have it harder, if it's one thing to say that because you've seen a lot of people on Twitter say it, or because you don't want black women mad at you. It's another thing to read Up Out of the House of Bondage. It's another thing to read that and then go, oh, that's why black women have it harder. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. Like, it's different to historically know what you're talking about versus just it's vibes. I'm just a vibes person. I saw the Black Lives Matter protests. I just don't want no problems. That's different. And that's the vast majority of people. Way more people in life are like not doing the research, not doing the reading, and they're just going off of who's currently the maddest at them. But some people do the reading. I prefer those people, to be honest. I like Max Kellerman because Max Kellerman does the reading.
He does. So
when he talks about race, he's not saying, it's just how I feel and I don't really want to see color and I think what those cops did was wrong. He's like, no, I was reading Ta-Nehisi Coates and this happened. And I'm like, good. Like, we need that. Be a nerd about it. You're not going to always get it right, but at least you'll fucking understand more than just, I don't know why they so mad. Let me go say I'm sorry. 8 years driving. I tried when I was 13 and didn't the car on start. Nobody was awake, so I went back to bed way past the statute of limitations.
That's hilarious.
Pamela M8 says, Feral Gene X kid here. I drove the car on multiple occasions when I was older than 8, but not older than 11, and only to one place, the Scott's grocery store. I'm only 5'3" now, so I was really short, but just big enough to get my feet on the pedals and peer over the dashboard. It was a couple of turns on the block in my neighborhood and then long straight way cross to the street to get to the store. This was with the full knowledge of my mother because I would only go there to get her some cigarettes, which were sold to me because I had a note from her. Shit was wild back then. Yeah, my grandmama used to send me to the store for cigarettes. We also had a cigarette vending machine.
Yep, you used to pop it in there, turn, and cigarettes just pop out.
Yep, I used to go up there and get her cigarettes. The thing I will say though is she never let me drive her car. And I do think that's like pretty wild because if you get pulled over in your mama's car, she's getting in trouble. Even back then, it wasn't
You're right.
Like that would be considered like some bad parenting, call CPS shit. She was gonna have to lie to those cops and hope you were smart enough to lie too, and be like she stole the car because there's no way that she could be like, what? She can't drive to the store? Like, okay, man, put your hands on your back.
Yes. My
reward were full-size Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which they had in big cardboard box at the entrance, and they were $4 for $1. Those were the days, weren't they? Abby says, good point about middle names, and I'm a person with a middle name. I didn't give my kids a middle name because I always thought it was pretentious. My full name is Dorothea Agnes. When you Google it, you get these cool girlies, and it's a Google. It was a bunch of old white ladies, I guess.
That's what you get when
exactly what I thought it would be.
When you look my name up, you gonna get a singer.
Nah, I think. Well, this isn't her full last name. It's just her first and middle name.
Oh, okay.
And you don't have a middle name, so if you put Karen in Google, it's just gonna be a bunch of white ladies.
It is
being racist.
It is.
Let's see. EVE leaves the last comment on this. Your Genesis sounds like an asshole. I had a Genesis of my own, but I let mine have it because fuck her. I was on a machine and there was 20 minutes limit for the machines when people are waiting. I was on the machine for maybe a couple minutes. I was in between reps to rest to check something on my phone when this white lady came up to me and aggressively asked me how long I'm going to be. Because I didn't like her tone, I told her I'll get off when I'm done, and there's a 20-minute limit, and I haven't been on the machine that long. And she made a snide comment about me being on my phone, and I told her if I want to sit here for another 15 minutes on my phone, she's not going to rush me off. And she said she went into full Karen mode and said she was going to tell the manager. I said tell them, and I dared them to move me before my time is up. She stomped off, and I guess either she didn't tell the manager or they didn't want to smoke. Anyway, every time I saw her after that, I would glare at her and make sure she knew I was doing it, and she would scurry away so quick. I hope she breaks a hip. Well, me and my Genesis haven't gotten into it yet, so hopefully it won't get that contentious. I found that Shits and Gig apology inauthentic for the reason that they were liking the comments that were saying they didn't need to apologize. Wow, word? That's wild.
I did not know that.
Yeah, obviously we couldn't have known that. I'm not gonna be on their page doing the forensics.
I don't care enough. I hate to be like this. I just don't.
That's telling, and they could have kept their raggedy apology to themselves. And honestly, the stuff about black women wasn't even the most egregious thing that happened on that podcast, in my opinion. Oh wait, I do have a question though. Evie, right back in if you know the answer or whatever. When you say they liked the comments that said they shouldn't have apologized, were those the only comments they liked, or are they one of them like we like every comment type of motherfuckers? Because I know that's a thing too for the algorithm and for clicks. You go and you like all the comments that people leave, regardless of good or bad, just to try to keep the engagement going, so the videos go viral. So yeah, I would like to know, because I'm so tired of the internet and this half of information ass shit that people do and get you riled up, and then you find out later like, well, they always like all the comments. Then it's like, oh well, god damn it, now I look stupid. So let me know if that's the case. If it's not the case, fuck them, obviously. But if it is the case, then whatever, I don't care. That Andrew dude was asking the Fuhad, the dark skinned one, about being Nigerian, which tribe in Nigeria is the lazy one, which one's the biggest scammers, which one's the most violent, all in Fuhad's face. And notably, Fuhad didn't laugh about it, but he went along with the bit and didn't check that translucent tool. Allowed that man to push racist rhetoric about an entire country. It was embarrassing. I saw that clip too. Yeah, it was. That's another reason I believe that there was fight or flight. They wouldn't even stand up for themselves, let alone they definitely weren't gonna stand up for black women. You know, that in that clip where he's like, so you a double slave. It's like, okay, these are just not my kind of guys. And this is, I guess this is the cost of hanging out with a certain type of edgy white guy. Is like, you got to deal with this very basic, not that funny racism and act like it's hilarious or whatever.
The thing is, I can laugh at racism. That ain't funny. Like, it's just flat, just not funny.
Yep. But I've seen some very interesting takes about them being British, and black British people put up with way more microaggression and disrespect than American blacks, according to some of the British content creators who spoke on the subject. So like Kendrick says, they not like us. Yeah, I can see that too. I tried to explain that on the show too. It's like, I'm never going to be so arrogant about my experience that I will assume all black people across the world share it. I assume I have a very American black experience, probably very American Southern if we're being specific.
Yes, because depending on where you are in a country would depend on the type of racism you have too. Not that it don't exist, but it's different.
And there's all kinds of black people that feel differently about blackness than me. And in that spectrum, there's a lot of them I do not consider bad people, coons, sellouts, anything negative. Like, they just arrived to a different conclusion than me. I would disagree with them, sometimes even vehemently, but I would not look down upon them as like a bad black person. I'd just be like, okay, you just see this different. And then there's some black people that I do feel on some extremes where I would be like, nah, this is some coon shit.
Right.
So it just depends on them. I don't know enough about these dudes to feel strongly one way or the other, but the stuff I've seen to me makes them seem kind of whack for that. And I know they're 33 or whatever. Maybe they'll evolve on it and shit. But by that point, I mean, that's how you probably feel about women. There's very few men I've seen evolve on how they feel about women. Like, suddenly just be like, oh yeah, I thought black women wasn't shit, but now I realize I love them. Like, should social media come with a warning label? Yes or no? 95% yes, 5% no.
I think it should.
All right, and let's check the comments on YouTube. 13. All right. This is why I'll be saying y'all need to leave reviews.
Leave us 5-star reviews.
Ellen Smith says, wait, are y'all for real about not having middle names? I thought everyone had one. Tiffany says, one of my aunts doesn't have one. It's weird because I think all other 11 siblings have middle names. Guess my grandparents temporarily ran out of creative steam by the time she came along. Lace Love says, I don't either. I know what it's supposed to be, but my mom never got around to it. My parents and most of their siblings don't either. And she says, oh wow, okay, so as Rod said, this might just mean I'm destined for crazy since I have one. Yeah, I'm just saying, I ain't never seen nobody kill a president with just 2 names. So
it's something about that third name.
Y'all, I'm just saying, y'all playing with fire out here with y'all kids. Mr. Rob says, to be fair to the woman who made the post about Haitians eating pets, she probably recanted her statement to save her job. Other individuals came out to support her claims, and I'm not going to be so dismissive about her changing her stance, especially since human beings from other cultures definitely don't discriminate when they're cooking in the kitchen. Oh wait, I'm starting to think this Mr. Rob is the racist dude that's black but anti-immigrant. Let me see. Even if we eliminate the cat dog talk, illegals are truly a problem. Okay, yeah, I think I already addressed this. Let's see. Solus says, I love this episode and I love the show. Wanted to give my 2 cents about the podcast clip with Andrew shows. I think it's great that you have I did hers too already. Cool. Save myself some time. I'm glad I did that. Smart Dave says, why would anyone at Target take money from a child? Because money spends.
Right.
Same way I bought my grandma them cigarettes.
Money spends.
Capitalism. They don't give a fuck. Unless you buying wine, why would they give a fuck?
Right.
Kids can't. Man, honestly, if I was behind the counter, I mind my motherfucking business. I've worked at the register at a couple places, and unless they were breaking the law, I didn't give a fuck what that kid was doing.
Right. Unless you were trying to buy crack cocaine, okay, we gonna make this into action, and you can go on out the store.
If anything, it's adorable. It's like, oh, she's buying
and being independent.
She's buying a pumpkin spice latte. That is so nice. JV City says there are some astronauts standing in orbit that will probably be voting by mail. Will they use this to attack each other? My daughter has a middle name because my wife and I have them. We decided to give her a middle name just in case she is waiting to board a plane in some other mode of transportation and another person has the same name. Happens rarely. There won't be confusion. There won't be any questions of which person is supposed to be in that seat. Target girl is going to be going some places again. LOL.
I think that name thing is in your head about maybe the person with the same name, unless they got like John Smith, like such a basic common name. Most people would not have a problem if their middle name did not exist.
Yeah, who gets down to the? No one gets down to the middle name thing,
right?
Very but also the reason I think it's interesting that you would say that is like what you're really saying is we thought her having a middle name and the slight small chance that somehow it helps to board a plane one day, you thought that was worth having a child that might kill a politician. That's crazy.
I hope not. Don't do that.
You would have had zero chance of them ever killing the politician if you just didn't do the middle name, but you said worth it for the plane. Wow.
The plane is worth it.
Layla says regarding AirPods as hearing aids, unless they isolate the feature inside of iOS, Android users should be able to utilize it as well. In any case, I'm certain Google is fast tracking their own version for Android. Yes.
You know they are.
And I will welcome those people. I will welcome those people when they get it. I will be happy for them. I will congratulate them. I won't look down on them. But maybe that's just me. Maybe some of us have a heart for other people. Jinxful says, laugh my ass off. Why the reporter snitch on that winery and sour righteousness? Right? She was like, it doesn't list the winery, but there's only one on that street. It's like, damn. Casboy P says, I wonder if he thought it was Nicki Minaj, LOL, and I have no idea what that's in reference to.
Sorry, baby. We talked so much, I don't remember.
All right. Let's go to the next one. But I'll play a beat first so I can get some commercials popping.
Check this so fly shit out. Word up.
Psycho.
Music.
I had to let that play a little extra. That's a brand new beat. Psycho Music just emailed me.
That's laid back.
All right. Let's see. That was 2977 Genesis. So now we got 2 episodes left. 2978 Diddy indicted. 13 comments. 13. That's a lot of comments. Sweet Fee says, thank y'all for featuring the story of Amber Nicole Thurman in Atlanta and discussing ramifications of anti-abortion laws. It's extremely important for people to know that these laws are truly life-threatening. I do want to clarify something Karen said. The pills taken to help in miscarriage or for abortion are not Plan B.
Oh,
Plan
okay.
B is a different medication that's actually closer to birth control pills and does not cause abortion or help in the setting of a miscarriage.
Okay.
I work in reproductive health care. I'm a midwife, and I just want to help make sure the correct information is out there.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you, Sweet Feet.
I just know what around that, so that was my assumption. So my bad.
Sean says, Amber Nicole Thurman, the reason I say you can't be pro-life and anti-abortion. Right. Yep. The fact that that is such an extreme point of view that you would not even, like, let's say you were you were pro-life in quotes, right? The fact that you have to be so pro-life that you're like, I don't give a fuck if the mom is gonna die and the baby will not be able to live. You have to try to have the baby regardless, and fuck it if you just die. That is, I don't even understand that.
Right, that shouldn't be your call to
I don't
make.
understand a person like that. I don't think it's possible for me to ever sit in a room, as empathetic as I am. I don't think it's possible for me to sit in a room across from someone who really legitimately thinks that and understand. I think I could not respect them. I would just, my value system is just so different that what they're saying to me sounds like 2 + 2 is 12. It's just like, what? So the mom gotta die and the baby probably gonna die, but that makes you more pro-life than me?
Right.
That's wild. And I won't get into the obvious other stuff, you're pro-life and Second Amendment and pro-death penalty and all that shit. Shoe Beauty says, it really shows how cavalier Diddy is. He thinks he's untouchable since he's been so far. When his property was raided and the items confiscated, he was not arrested for several months. He should have been seen the writing on the wall. Sure, fleeing would have made him look like a guilty man, but he would have been a free guilty man, living it up with Russell Simmons or Roman Polanski. I'm not saying I wanted him to flee, of course. I wanted him to face justice, but it more shows how long he has believed he's been above the law. He probably still doesn't think the case will stick despite being denied bail. Well, I have another theory, and it's a very irresponsible theory, so just fast forward if you can't handle what I'm about to say, because it's about suicidal ideation. But I do legitimately wonder if all that shit he was doing this weekend when he was out at the park, and I feel like he knew he was being arrested Tuesday. He knew for a fact that's what was happening. It felt like, and then the fact that they put him in suicide watch in prison makes me wonder if he was on some like, I'm not leaving because I'm just gonna take myself out, and then y'all live with the, which a lot of people that do heinous crimes like this, a lot of them will do that, where they write something that's it's so fucked up for the victims, where they could declare innocence, confess to nothing, and just go, I had to take myself out because the world was just trying to take me out, blah blah blah. And so I do wonder if maybe that's why they arrested him early and why he's on suicide watch. If they felt like, yeah, this might be the moves of a man who's not planning to be here for this prosecution, so let's get him when he doesn't expect it, so that he can't, we don't show up Tuesday and he's not here, Anyway, that's a very dark theory, and I have no proof of that. It's just feelings I was thinking about. Rona Raphael says, I was expecting one clip from Richard Lowry, just called him nigger, but I didn't know what else these grifting racist POS got to say about for any person of color and allies to still be given them the benefit of doubt. Just tell me that you love what they're selling instead of pretending I need the DNC to fix this or we don't fuck with Harris. Blacks don't fuck with Harris because we fucking with the guy who wouldn't give soap to people locked at the southern border, sexual assaults galore on detainees. All right, Chicago. Oh, that dude who wrote in about Chicago not gonna go for Kamala.
Right.
I wonder, did people die from COVID-19 or not? Don't fucks with Harris. Anyway, I chose happiness when talking about cucumber sex. You must pronounce cucumber in the Honorable Hilaria Baldwin. She taught us to. How do you say in English cucumber? Shoe Booty says, oh, the record scratch and jaw drop when Lowry so casually dropped the N-word. No. And Nate Boy says, I think we need a higher level than Dracarys. I can see that.
Oh
no. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars for the episode. A quick note, Lawrence O'Donnell went in hard and shared his own mother's story about not receiving proper treatment for a miscarriage. He blamed George W. Bush and Donald J. Trump for what is happening because of Roe v. Wade. Shaking my damn head. Good for Lawrence. Angela says, incredible show. Thank you, Karen and Rod. Regarding Home Depot, I believe they are the company that we don't like, as they have been racist for a while, and then the CEO went MAGA. Lowe's has had a black CEO for a while. However, they did get rid of their parent DEI program. Despite that, I think Home Depot is worse, given the CEO's full chest support of the Grand Dragon from Queens. I really wish we had some black-owned hardware stores. The closest I can think get in my small town is Rocky's Ace Hardware, which employs 2 black women. Thanks for addressing the Chicago blacks won't vote for Harris comment as an anecdote, I guess. When the NABJ was hosting Trump, folks were outside protesting and yelling about VP Harris, including a white woman, calling her a bitch. When I tell you this black woman dressed her down and her black friend down, she said, you don't be bringing that here. How dare you call her out her name? And she sent a glare to the woman's black friend. Maybe she is the lone Kamala Harris voting Chicago, since no one is voting for her. I wonder if that commenter was black or if he was one of those fake Democrats that give backhanded compliments to Trump and backhanded negging compliments to Harris. I don't know. He has a YouTube channel. I thought he was a black dude. Maybe he was just saying this so he can get his YouTube channel. I don't know. I don't even know why they left that comment because it's not backed by any science. And they didn't reply, so I don't even know if they listened to the show.
Right.
To reply to be like, oh yeah, I can't provide evidence. Or he just saw what I said and said, I actually can't provide any evidence that Kamala Harris is going to lose the black vote in Chicago. I'm just talking shit.
I'm just saying it.
There's a lot of tomfoolery going on in these social media streets. Thanks for an awesome show. Hugs and kisses. Thank you, Angela. Abby says, it's so weird to see some form of consequences for a predator. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It is weird. It's weird in the way of like, I feel like it was inevitable once the ball started rolling. Once his house got raided, I was like, he's going to jail. The feds are not doing that.
They don't do that. Right. They don't do that for no reason.
When that video of him hitting Cassie came out, I said, the feds did that.
Yeah, she didn't drop that.
Yeah. How could she? No one, like, who else would have had the evidence? You raided the house, which she in her civil suit said he keeps the evidence of the attack in the house. And a couple months later, it's out here on the streets. So, yeah, I think that also is one of the reasons that you're not seeing a bunch of public outrage of like, why are you taking this brother, a black man that is a billionaire helping the black community? You're not really seeing a lot of that with him because people saw that video and then he apologized and people went, yeah, so he definitely did that part. So to try to parse between like, okay, he beat Cassie, but there's only a handful of people that are going to try to do that. And they're all idiots. EV says Diddy is going down. He's definitely going to jail because the feds rarely prosecute cases unless they think it's a slam dunk. I know so many people are focused on 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil, and maybe that the focal point for laughs and some of the content I've seen made me chuckle, but what the people are forgetting is how Diddy was drugging people, how he was violent and abusive to his subordinates, how he blackmailed people and coerced them into participating in these acts against their will, how people have mysteriously died in connection with him, and how he shot a woman in the face and paid people off to send an innocent man to prison for that crime. What I find frustrating about this is people who claim that being flued out is the same thing as Diddy was doing.
Right, it's not the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of those people are just claiming ignorance. It's the same thing. If you're in my sphere, if you're one of the people that are my friends or family, whatever, I'll reach out to you if you say some dumb shit like that. Because I'm like, don't do that. You're better than that, and you're wrong. I remember I had a friend that was doing a podcast. I won't say their name. And they were doing this like Harvey Weinstein, like 25 women say he sexually assaulted them, but it had to be like a couple that's lying or something like that. And I hit them up to be like, my guy, what is the point of spending so much focus on that? In addition to it not really like kind of being hack and you should be above that. But in addition to that, it's like patently offensive and fucked up. And you would never make this argument if it was like if it was like 25 black men say this cop beat them. You're not gonna be like, yeah, well, a couple of them was probably just criminals talking that shit that deserve to get hit upside the head. You're gonna be like, yeah, once it gets to a certain amount, whatever the margin of error is, not really worth the discussion, right? And I would only do that to somebody I respect, because if it was Andrew Schultz, I'd be like, of course he said it, and then I just never listen again. Yeah, but my point being, like, seeing people like Faison Love do stuff like this, where it's like, he beat Cassie, but really, you can't fly a woman out. Seeing people do stuff like that, I have to be like, nah, man, that's not like thank you, Faison Love, for being the person that did that. So I can be like, if you do this, this is who the fuck you sound like. Did that sound deep? Did that sound hilarious? Or did it sound like a fucking idiot that's down with this rapist? Anyway, she says, most of the women in these airplanes in their bios consent to that. I remember groupie tales on this show and hating ass Terrell Jones, although I think Terrell would probably be on Diddy's side, right? Those groupie tales were nothing like what Diddy did. So people like Boosie and Faison Love really need to shut the fuck up. Also, Faison Love should worry about his health instead of worry about whether flying someone out is legal or not. It's not normal to be so out of breath from talking. Yeah, I wonder if he was just trying to sound deep.
I don't know.
I
couldn't tell you.
I don't absorb enough of his content.
Me either.
To keep up, and I'm not going to. Trey says, never lost the Southern District of New York. I'm just really glad Diddy is facing consequences for his actions now. It has been a long time coming, Trey. Yeah, I agree. And you're right about the Southern District. They don't be just taking any case. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably, you're probably going to jail if they even start looking at the shit.
If they glance your way, you was in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm undefeated, never lost.
All right, let's check the comments on YouTube. 12. They're short though. Rod, regarding the baby oil, that's some Costco-ish. Laughing emoji, I assume. Joe Smith says he is presumed innocent, but he is a wealthy flight risk. Yeah. And, people are being intimidated or saying they're being intimidated, and the prosecution would know because those are their witnesses. And keep in mind, none of the witnesses' names are in the report. So if they're being harassed, how do you know who to harass? Innocent man that all of this is lies.
Right.
Like if someone can't accuse me of, like, Rod, you went on an elevator and you groped somebody, their name wasn't in the accusation, I would legitimately not know who the fuck to say. I wouldn't know who to intimidate because I ain't never did that shit. So you was groping people in the elevator, I'd be like, well, I guess I will see them in court, because I definitely don't know who the fuck you could be possibly saying I did that to, right? Other than obviously Karen. But in general, if 12 people accuse you of something and you harass a couple of these motherfuckers, If I'm the prosecutor, I'm like, he got to stay in jail. Because he must have did this shit.
You can't be harassing people whose name we ain't even made public.
Yeah. How he know?
Right. How you know?
Anyway, Michael says he got all the way to a full hard R. Yeah, that was random. Haitian N-words. JV City says, me too, Karen. LOL. Oh no, intended. Rod, I hope you take the day off. And it was for this clip here around a certain minute. Face out. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you doing the criminal a favor? Or is it so bad that you're like, this shit's so embarrassing, I just want the police to catch you without... I don't even think this is the right... Oh, I see. I gotta go to the exact minute mark. Okay, it was on 10:37. All right. Oh, it was right after that dude said the hard R. So that must have been what it was.
To this clip where Dana Bash says, the police have gone through 11 months of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants. Oh no!
So that's what they're responding to. Your oh no. Solve that mystery. Gerard says we need to share that GA story about that black woman. We have a lot of pro-life black people in our families that aren't thinking about these cases. Everyone is thinking of abortions at birth control only. Yep. And who is to say those doctors in Georgia didn't intentionally refuse to provide care for that black woman going through a miscarriage? This is crazy. No one can know for sure, but here's what I would say, Gerard. Because I know it's easy to assume the worst of just every fucking body, especially in an outrageous story like this. But here's what I would say. If there was not that law, a woman in this situation typically would be taken care of.
Yes.
And so we would know at that point, if there was not this law, that it was some other reason they didn't save this woman's life or attempt to.
Right.
These laws give cover to so much that we'll never know. And I don't think it's unreasonable, because the fear is the point, for a doctor to be like, I don't want to go to prison because I broke a law, but I'm breaking the Hippocratic Oath. And they did not try to treat her. What happened was they delayed treatment because they were trying, because these laws are so haphazardly written and untested.
And they're vague on purpose.
And you have to wait until hopefully you get it up the chain to someone with a conscience. It's like, fuck it. Then I guess we'll go to jail.
Right.
And most people ain't willing to do that from the ground floor. They like, no, I'm scared.
And they push it up, and then the hospital's like, I don't want to be responsible. I don't want a lawsuit. I don't want the senator. I don't like, and that was the whole purpose of it. They're vague on purpose. They don't have anything written on purpose. They have it where regardless of what happened, they could argue anything they want on either side. They want pro or con, like for the people for the people that are pro anti-abortion, because it's so fucking vague. And so, but the end result is this death. The end result is doctors not performing it. That's what they want. I don't think a lot of people understand. It is designed for these results. And then they can be like, well, we don't know what's going to happen with the law. Yes, you do, bitch. Yes, you do. Quit fucking around and quit pretending like you don't know what the results of this is.
All these doctors and nurses went to school or were trained to actually help women in this situation.
Right.
So for me, it's harder to believe that and it's the same thing with Puff Daddy. We want to put the blame on as many people as possible everywhere so we can keep being mad. I don't need to be mad at those doctors. That law shouldn't exist.
Agreed.
Period. K Sensi says, thank you both for keeping the conversation grounded as usual. Appreciate your commentary on the indictment and all the surrounding details. Thank you. It was hard to do because I'm a very silly person that responds to news in the funniest way possible normally. And I could have done definitely a long ass riff about them baby oil bottles, but say that for the pregame with Justin behind the paywall. Not that it was offensive, but just the story had been out, we had already covered it seriously, so then we can be clowns later. But yeah. Morna says, it's also the hospital admin. They don't want to risk the lawsuit or a bad outcome for adhering to a law that could get them shut down. Doctors and institutions can't directly act against those institutions. Yep. And that's the point of the law. Sad shit. All right. We got one more episode for the week, I believe. It is 2979. Number ones. Let's see. We got 8 comments here. DJ Java says, "Oh no, it's time to reset the clock. We were doing so well, Karen.
We was doing well, wasn't we?"
Rona Raphael says, "I do have a passport and I'm a forever Samsung user, but is that why I'm here? Nah." Rebel Ridge voice. "It's all about grace. Funny enough, the name of the most hated family person who I just found out is still alive. Yuck." Okay, that's such a personal. Does she listen? Right?
I don't know.
I'm gonna need you to focus, my man. Focus. What did you come to say? There's no. I also never listened to shit and giggles. I kept receiving clips from them from women, especially white dudes, over stuff that wasn't new or funny to me, but they just discovered. So I was like good and went about my day until I met the production company on the last year. I don't even know that they were podcasters. It was sad to hear the latest old clip, but at the same time, it's why I like listening to y'all, because it'd be weird out here in these streets. Even on my podcast, when I get some stuff like from guests once in a while, and I just ask, why? Why do you think that way or believe that's cool? That's not to say that I haven't made some mistakes or said something. However, I own it, and I got to agree that it makes sense to not guarantee one's place as a safe space when that means different things to everyone. Yeah, and like I said, I can't even lie, y'all. Now, these days, when I hear anyone talking about making something a safe space for people, my antenna goes up.
Mine does too.
It's like when people say, we're a family at a job. I'm sorry, but we not. And I feel like if we lying on day one, when the shit really do pop off, I can't even be surprised that you came up short because you was making it sound easy. Family right. Not easy. Safe space not easy.
And family can't fire me. I don't work for my family.
Mm-hmm. Wish them boys well. Hopefully they grow up. The guy behind that production company is someone who would make a great guest, especially talking hip hop with you guys. I'll try and connect you two behind the scenes. I don't know. This is why at the end of the day, the Blackout is just number one, not Baltimore one. I feel human just listening. Now y'all show me some grace and book your tickets to my brand new winter cruise in Africa. Mm-hmm.
Don't y'all book them tickets.
Oh, by the way, this guy to defend a black man no matter what gives me the same cult gang vibes that MAGA be on to defend their own. One can draw a Venn diagram of people defending problematic and toxic actions under the guise of we belong to the same caste. Faison should, instead of pretending to preach, just borrow a page from the Honorable Jill Stein, raise the cash, and pay his child support. Right. He could be doing that. I got to go fund me. I'm a free Diddy. And then just put out, it'll probably be, taken by the government, but whatever. Whatever it is to get your balance done. But we all know that once he gets the cash, he ain't paying shit. Pre-order your copy of How to Get Your Child Support Via Science. I'm glad Russia plans ain't working. We stay vigilant. Shoe Booty says, social media has had the nastiest feeling to it lately. Everything is so fake or for bait. Everyone thinking there's some kind of content creator or influencer. The hollow feeling plus an election year and having to fact check literally everything is taking its toll on me, and I deleted my Twitter.
Right, and that's the thing. And I will continue to say this: the human mind is not designed for such an overload of information that social media gives it. It's just not designed for that.
Yeah. Having to fact check everything is a bitch.
Yes.
As a person that does this podcast, goddamn, it's hard as hell.
Yep, and that's kind of the purpose and how it's designed, so that nobody will believe anything.
Well, I think it's the other way. It's designed so you believe a lot of shit that is like stuff you already want to believe. Yeah. That's what I really have to check. It's not like it's easy. If you said Kamala Harris is a Marxist dictator, then no, it's easy for me to go, that's fake. But it's when you tell me something like, if you were to say like Donald Trump, cocaine falls out of Donald Trump's pocket at rally. It's so easy for me to believe that shit and not want to go verify that, not Google, not check the source. Like, ooh, it's something bad about Trump. And then you run away with it. And then you come back and it's like, got hacked, nigga. And then they treat you like you're not serious. And like the serious things that do happen also aren't serious. Like,
right.
Well, if you could believe that, that's Joe Rogan's whole claim to fame. Like, some stuff is bullshit. So isn't everything bullshit? And it's like, no, dummy. I don't want to look anymore. Even since Elon Musk took over, he screwed with the AI, the algorithm. I'm sorry, so much. I don't have an enjoyable time. It just had me thinking, if it doesn't feel good, why do it? There you go, Skin. I got your slogan, just like that.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, particularly when the main page is the For You page, which is not trying to find a bunch of garbage and a bunch of trash and people arguing all the time. Like, it is like whatever you've been interacting with, what is the extreme of it on both sides, and that's what that For You page is. So I basically had to go through and basically make my own timeline almost of people that I really want to see, because a lot of times the people that you really want to see gets washed in a bunch of bullshit of motherfuckers you don't follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I will say this. It's so much work. I can see why people would tap out. It's still very worth it and fun to me, but I've had to adjust how I use it, and just so that like I'm not constantly in the fray of these back and forths and stuff like that. There's a bunch of topics I just don't talk about on Twitter because I know people are there to misunderstand, and that is sad because it wasn't always so bad that way. But like right now, I would not chime in on Angels and Caitlyn. And meanwhile, I'm watching more WNBA than the vast majority of these people that are having these fights. But I would not participate in it because I know what the setup is. So what's the point?
Right.
Let's see. Abia says, I checked some of Sean Gillis's sketches after Rod talked about him because I couldn't imagine him being funny. And I must admit, I thought the sketches were really great. But also, he did play with hot topics. Very often he makes fun of white men, like in the one where a black woman runs on an I guess an uncle daycare for problematic white men, and they all appear to be extremely stupid. I was often surprised where the sketch went. Yeah, and it's because I was introduced to him, and once again, what did we just talk about? Kind of being hacked by the internet, by your confirmation bias. I'm introduced to him through, he made Asian jokes on that show, and people brought up the old clips when he got the SNL gig, and he ends up saying, I'll take my name out of consideration or whatever, right? I don't know anything about him, and I'm like, oh, he's just one of these offensive, edgy guys, not a very smart comedian, not a very thoughtful comedian. I had a friend who worked with him, who's a stand-up comedian, who DM'd me to be like, this is my homie. Like, he's a good dude, and I know this brother to not be a sit around and deal with you being racist to him just to get along guy. Right. And so it automatically, now that's a private thing y'all couldn't have known, but automatically it put me into like, well, he still seems like a coon to me. I'm gonna be honest, it still seems like racist to me. That's what my thought was at the time. But that stuck with me where I was like, my homie wouldn't be vouching for no fucking just piece of shit.
No bullshit, right?
And as a comedian, the comedians get paid for the attempt. None of these motherfuckers, I would be shocked. I shouldn't say shocked. The kind of comedian that has never stepped over the line, I would wonder if they're funny.
I can see that.
And I don't mean that to be a jerk. I feel like every comedian has to press the line to find the line. It just didn't used to be all of our business. If you went to the show, you knew. If you didn't, you didn't know. And now that everything's online, it's like motherfuckers that ain't even in the room, would never be in the room, hate that room, are seeing stuff that they shouldn't. These podcasts is a lot of people just working material, and there's not always an understanding of that from people who aren't fans. Our podcast has definitely gone over the line at some point about something, and we'll do it again for the record.
Right.
Not because we want to be over the line, but because it's just a moving, finding the line thing. That 99% of y'all listening will always understand that and not really come too hard on us. Y'all know our hearts, blah, blah, blah. But there's going to be some people that if that shit went viral or got out of the purview of our fan base, that would be like, nah, fuck them. That happened with Bernie Sanders when I did Bernie So Black. We got introduced to a bunch of motherfuckers that don't fuck with black people, don't fuck with our politics, and hate that we said something bad about Bernie even as a joke. And I got harassed and a bunch of stuff, comments, bad reviews, everything was happening. And it was because here's our show where people typically understand our intent and know that I'm just making a joke, which is what I do. They were suddenly, it's a bunch of motherfuckers. It's like, what are these ungrateful blacks saying about Bernie? You know what I mean? So, she says I was out the, but yeah, I saw a sketch comedy on YouTube and it was actually very funny. And like I said, I'm not vouching for his Asian joke shit. I think that was whack. I think he may have even apologized for that. But everything I've seen from him online in these sketches has been like pretty funny. Not all of it's great, like ha ha, I'm dying. But and he has a lot of surprising directions for his sketches, which is one of the reasons I think he's funny, because I couldn't predict where the sketch was going. Angela says, that cat hates the MAGA woman. I have had house cats all my life. I've never had one run away. If anything, I can't get the one I have off my lap. She even cuddles with my husband, who is the designated spare human lap of the last resort. For that cat to avoid her for so long in the house means the cat knows that woman's evil Trumpy spirit. Speaking of which, given that she is head to toe decking MAGA clothes, I suspect she only apologized because she got caught, not because she caused harm to the Haitian community. I'm so tired of these people. I don't know how ancestors did it. Thanks for the great show. Yeah, Angela, you could be dead ass right. I have no idea what that woman's heart is, and no reason to assume it's good. Pamela M8 says, you don't have to read this on the air, or if you don't want. Girl, I'm reading everything else. May
as well.
For the no 5 stars.
The no 5 stars.
On the Teenster poll and the 60% going to Trump and 34% to Harris, I read that this story earlier this week on Substack. It was an electronic poll conducted on July 24th through September 15th. And here are the demographics, dead giveaways. They say 61% white, 17% Hispanic, Latino, 12% black, 5% unknown, 3.7% Asian, and 0.08% Indian, Alaskan Native. It was 80% male, 19% female. The average salary was $44,000. The average age was 47.6 years old. Oh, so that's why it's skewed that way, because it's mostly white men who are older. That makes sense. Look, all these polls, I ain't never took any of them seriously. It's, even with her leading in the polls, you don't see us coming on here being like, oh, did you see the latest poll? I meant it when I said it under Biden. I meant it for her too. The polls are not accurate and cannot be trusted. And at the end of the day, the only poll that's going to matter is showing up to the poll to vote.
Right.
So those are the ones, the exit polls, nigga. None of this.
Not
none
the
of this shit
pre-polls.
do nothing. EVE says, Andrew Schultz making fun of the shits and gigs apology reminds me of that song by Francesca Ramsey. I never thought the leopard would eat my face. When you entertain clowns, you get a circus. It was my understanding that not even half the Teamsters were polled on the electronic poll, and it was the president of the Teamsters who made the decision not to endorse Harris, which caused an uproar. Okay, I've read that too. I didn't read the whole article, so I didn't say it on the show. But I
don't know if that's true, but I could see that being very valid. Where they were like, "Hey, nigga, like this don't make sense. Like he is anti everything we are. What the fuck is wrong with you?"
And he spoke at the RNC,
right?
But the thing is, the black and Latino Teamsters already came out and said they endorsed Harris, so that really says something. Mm-hmm. She's getting endorsement of all the state Teamsters and Teamsters United Council. That's a pretty big deal. And then YouTube comments, almost done. Six comments. All right, let's see. Passion of the Christ 2 when Jesus grabs the gun, says Kevin. Alexandra says Passion of the Christ 2, nigga, you thought? Why are some men so adamant about not wanting to take care of their kids? If you don't want to pay child support, stop having kids.
Right.
People aren't rapping before tapping, then complain about the system bringing the man down, sir. Right. It's funny because the responsibility always goes to the woman at that point, where it's like, well, why did she why she had a kid then? I'm like, why did you drop the sperm? Was you sexually assaulted? No, you gave it willingly. You knew all the stuff that could happen.
Right. She didn't have the baby by herself with you not involved.
And
she didn't steal your sperm. What are we doing here?
Right. And 99% of the time, I don't even believe in these dudes. That they was like always on the up and up with it. Don't let Mel Gibson know what about the number one, says JV City. That's so good. Thomas Harris says great show. Homework Gil says First of Jesus deserves a part 2. Oh, Fist of Jesus deserves a part 2. I'm here for Jesus using fish nunchucks.
Hilarious.
Right. And Army Chick says that she hate you expect a T-Rump supporter to be. I don't know what that means. She hate you expect equal a T-Rump. I think some spelling autocorrect might have got you. I don't know.
May have, because yeah.
And then the poll was, do you have a passport?
I do.
71% yes, 29% no. So when the time comes and you need to get out the country, y'all remember, time to get them passports. The line's gonna be long.
That line's gonna be long.
All right, let's get into the voicemails. Oh yeah, let me play a beat in case I need to put a commercial somewhere around here. You never know. How about this one?
Why did you kill that
Dog.
They're eating the dog. They're eating the pet. They're eating the dog. The dog. They're eating the dog. They're eating the pet.
All right, voicemails. We got 5 people that left voicemails. Some of them left 2 to 4. Jesus.
Okay.
All right,
What
here
they
we
got to
go.
talk- what they
At
got
least,
to
at least
say?
I won't have to talk during this part. So let's go.
Hey, Rod, I was listening to the feedback show from Saturday. Dude was talking about the FDIC, FLIC, and crypto. And I just wanted to say, too, there was a crypto company called FTX run by Sam Bankman-Fried. He wasn't fraudulent. He just took all that money and invested it poorly, and people lost their life savings. So, but the bank was FDIC or FSLIC didn't back up any of those investments. Those people was just out. So, scam or not, if you put your money in crypto and you lose it, you on your own. Also, when you get time, I agree with coming up with a catalog of all your beats and your drops, because you used to have some music for they trying to steal the election that goes back to like when Biden first got elected. When anyway, the beat that you had back then, back in whatever year it was, 2020, 2021, I thought that was a fire beat, but you don't play it anymore.
It was.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Out.
All right, I'll explain both those things. I know about Sam Bankman-Fried. I've listened to a few podcasts, long deep dives into what happened with him. At some point, it was a Ponzi scheme, though. So, like, just like Madoff or somebody. Like, motherfucker just got you. And you're right. With crypto, like, even in the Madoff case, some of those people got their money back. And with crypto, you just done. Like, you shouldn't have did it, is what basically how the government treats it. Even as the government prosecuted that man. And then the last thing was, the beat. So those beats were when we were at Spotify, we had access to these commercial beats that are, like basically you can play them on your podcast, because Spotify has a commercial license, that it was letting all the podcasters use. We're not with Spotify exclusively anymore or under that deal. So I stopped playing that beat. And also like when you play that beat on, and it's on YouTube or something, the way it's monetized, it basically demonetizes our podcast. So it just wasn't worth it. But I did love that beat as well. Some of those beats was off the chain. All right. That was Blue Wave Rider Erica. Leaves 2 voicemails.
Good morning, Rod and Karen. This is Erica. I had to pause episode 2977, the Gym Sis. First of all, Rod, there is no such thing as too much true crime content. As a fellow true crime junkie myself, I can't get enough. I'm still binge watching Dateline, but I recently started The Worst Ex Ever on Netflix, and oh my God. I'm not done watching it yet, but you guys check it out. It's wild.
Well, let me stop there. I talked about Worst Ex Ever on the pregame.
I'm about to say,
I watched
yeah,
that.
I remember you talking about that.
That shit was crazy. And yes, there can be too much true crime because I can't live here thinking my neighbor is a murderer. I would have to move, and I can't afford to be moving. So that was too much.
But I also want to say this true crime stuff makes me more aware of my surroundings, like you were talking about. So a couple months ago, I'm walking my dog, right? I'm on, this is back when I was living on the south side of Charlotte. I'm walking my dog, and I see this man. Now, it is hot as shit outside. It is about 95 degrees, and it's like 11 o'clock in the afternoon. This man is head to toe in black, except this lime green mask on his head. And I'm like, what the fuck? So all of a sudden I hear a crash. This nigga done busted somebody's window out, about peed my social house, and snatched a book bag. Me, because I was alert, I was able to take a picture of his car and capture his license. I felt like Olivia fucking Benson solving crimes. Now, I do not know if they ever caught him or the person got their stuff back, but I attribute it to my consumption of true crime. So keep watching true crime. Y'all have a great day.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, she called back.
Hello, guys. It's Erica again. Just heard you talk about the 8-year-old in Bedford Heights, Ohio, that drove to Target. And as your resident Clevelander, I know exactly what area she was driving from and where she went. And that is definitely like a 20-minute ride. So I'm actually impressed that the only thing she hit was a mailbox. I just want to know where she got the $400 from and what exactly she was going to Target for. It is my belief that you don't go to Target with a list of things. You go on Target, and Target tells you what you need.
Exactly.
Y'all have a great one.
That's the best way to do it.
Target tells you what you need.
That's the best way to do it. You just gotta listen to your inner circle, the circle that's on Target, and it'll help you out.
That's what that Target is, your heart.
Yeah, that's your soul. What I was gonna say though is that it's funny. What did she start out on? Oh, 20 minutes driving for a car at 8. I'm sorry. I could not do directions at 8. Like, I could not have gotten myself to Target in the back seat telling the driver where to go. You drove yourself and all you had was a mailbox.
No, I couldn't drove.
I'm convinced the real reason we don't know that kid's name is because once you start asking questions like, why did she have $400 in cash? That if I'm whatever kind of family that is, they don't want them questions. I'm not even gonna lie, felt black to me. Now I don't know, but it felt black. Felt like we would know better than to go on the news. I felt like white people would have been like, "Oh yeah, don't you know? She was the sweetest thing. She got in the car," and I'm over there like, "Here come DCS." All right, Jen left us 2 voicemails.
Hey, Rod and Karen, it's Jen. Hope y'all are having a great week. I wanted to call because I know y'all were talking about James and Fuhad, the Shits and Gigs boys. And I've been trying to digest how I feel about it because I don't have by any means like a parasocial relationship with them, but I definitely was rooting for them. Like I think most people who see their clips on the internet were. And it's funny because I consume their content through TikTok, I've been getting so many, like every damn reaction video. And the more I listen, and people tend to blow things out of proportion. So I've just been kind of taking a few days to digest it because I was definitely disappointed. But I thought about this and I had forgotten until this all blew up was that a while ago, months ago, I had stitched one of their clips that I thought was funny about, it was like a little clip of them talking about how when people talk about tall, dark, and handsome, they mean somebody like Ben Affleck. Like they don't mean, not that they're tall, but they're never talking about a black man.
Right.
And I stitched it because I was like, it was so funny and they made it seem so funny, but I was like, this laughter is kind of coming from the trauma response of men who feel like they'll never be like the desired type. And I just love how black people can kind of laugh at our pain. And I like saw them in that moment. So I think the most disappointing thing for me was that they just, the disregard for black women, you know what I mean? And the fact that they were doing it on that podcast with those 2 women who I don't blame them necessarily. I know some people are kind of going off on them, but I'm just like, they were pick-me's in that moment in the way that they were like, I know y'all not talking about me because I'm not from Atlanta. I'm like, The fact that these 2 black men came on your podcast and said there's no baddies in Atlanta and y'all are in Atlanta is like such a slap in the face. And it just shows like how invisible black women can be sometimes to these men. And so I think that's really what got to me with the James and Fuhad situation.
She had to call back. She got cut off.
Yeah, I knew I was going to get cut off. But as I was saying, I'm just disappointed in their reaction. And, I was listening to Kev on stage and that chick Angel talking about it. And just Kev's reaction in general to how he would respond made me feel like this is what we want, and like it just shows that, he's in community with black people. So, and just as like a black woman trying to date, it's like we have to kind of like, when I'm on apps, I have to look at men of all races and wonder if they date black women, and it's just a reminder when things like this happen. So that's my thoughts on that. I also appreciate the Diddy coverage this week. I'm sure more news will come out before y'all do your feedback episode, but I was thinking about even the Cassie incident and how somebody at the hotel had that tape, because y'all were talking about like retaliation and fear of retribution and things like that. And I just thought, like, imagine being like a hotel clerk making minimum wage, and somebody like Diddy probably pays you more than you ever see in your life, or maybe doesn't even pay you. You're just like, this is Diddy, like, what the fuck is he gonna do to me? And you have to make that choice and live with that you hid that footage, and I doubt that person took joy in that, but it's just like, that's crazy how insidious it is, and also how desensitized we are. Like, I'm hearing the Diddy news, and it's crazy. It really does sound crazy. The reports sound really wild, but it's like we're so desensitized, like with Cosby and Weinstein, like all these men were just like, yeah. I mean, the craziest part to me was the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Yeah. I'm just like, we're not even thinking about the men and women that he just had drugged for years in his place. So I appreciate y'all coverage of it and love y'all. Hope y'all have a good week. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, it's so interesting, the shits and gig thing, because that's a moment you can't fake. And I think maybe I'm just so used to like men failing that moment, which is somebody is saying something that you should, if you really do feel the way you feel about black women, you should dead ass pick it up without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? If somebody, these black women, how they do, but I'm human. Everyone's human. Sometimes you don't even realize that shit at a certain age, like, cause especially as black men, I don't know about them and how they were raised and shit. But for me, coming as a hip hop child, I've accepted so many bullshit arguments built into the culture that it took me years to be able to be like, oh no, that's bullshit. Because so many people accepted it. As you said, those black women they were talking to. It's not me. He's talking about these women from Atlanta. I'm actually from Houston. I'm just here in Atlanta. And meanwhile, we have situations where like, well, why are you getting mad that Snoop Dogg called these women hoes? If you not a hoe, what is there to be mad about? That kind of shit. It's just a weird gaslighting head logic that happens, and then we go, okay, yeah, I guess that's right. And you accept that kind of shit. But what you're also accepting is a general tenor of disrespect for black women at all times. And so when a white man does it, to you, there's no distinction between him and Snoop Dogg or a stranger or another black man or whoever. It's like, nah, that's the culture. Yeah, black women, they rough, they'll hit you. Ha. Even if you disagree. Like, why would I make a point of, clearly this is our culture. So why would I even make a point, or in this case, maybe feeling like that's y'all's culture. But you know what I mean? Like, why would I even make a point to stop this? That's just stopping the culture. So yeah, that sucks. And I can see why a lot of people was let down, because to me, I was introduced to them through black women. So to have them it caught up in a couple moments like this, after black women basically put you on to make it to that next level, you're not touring America if not for black women. Period. So to see that kind of like, to see them not be able to make the connection in real time lets you know that it's a bit performative. They're not, as I say, doing the reading. They're not in community naturally enough with black women, or they just don't, and this happens a lot too, they don't see black women as like coveted human beings. Like, you don't see black women as like the most beautiful example of beauty. You don't see black women as the to be desired as a wife. You don't see black women as love interest. You see black women a certain way, maybe as like a provider, a caregiver, a friend, or whatever. And so you wouldn't jump to their defense if you don't see them as an equal, because those men should also be able to be like, well, my sister is black, my cousin, my such and such is black, right? So all those men always make that argument whenever you call them out for being like, hey, you're a bit fucked up towards black women. Man, what are you saying? My mama black, my sister black, right? And they're black. And when someone says something disparaging to black women, you don't jump in front of it for your sister or your mama either. So what are we really saying? They're not really seen as equals. They're caregivers. They're providers. Because if I said something like that about black men in your face, you absolutely would knee jerk say, what the fuck? No, that's not true. You know, but anyway, I don't know these niggas. They might brook that level of disrespect. For them, we did see they took it for themselves. So if they did that for themselves, what can I really say? Like, they wouldn't stand up for anybody probably.
And also something I wanted to comment about what she was saying about the black women from Houston. As a black woman that's been around black women, that's met all types of black women have a blindness to black women too. And, you know, that's something that, you know, sometimes people don't want to talk about, you know, kind of within the black woman community, you know, because I understand black women support black women more than kind of any other collective. Because there's been times where shit has happened and I'll just go and throw $20, $30 at a black woman, you know, just because. Don't know what you doing. I might not even understand. You might be talking all types of signs. I'm like, oh, this is smarty out nigga. Here's $25. Like, I don't care. Go do your thing. Like we will support 125% of the black women. But within that group, there are other black women that look at other black women as less than, look at other black women as we can't be equal, be it education, be it sexuality, be it a sexual past, be it calling you a hoe, whatever it is something there. Colorism, whatever that thing is, because black women are human too. And so we have these things amongst ourselves, because if I'm sitting there and I'm, you know, and I might not be from that area and you're talking about me. You know, you're not talking about them bitches over there. You're talking about me to my face. There's going to be a problem. But also, society just in general has taught women, as long as you can feel like you special and you make a man feel comfortable, that he will choose you. So it's fuck them other bitches over there, as long as I get chose, as long as I get a ring on my finger, as long as I can fuck him, as long as I can take his money or whatever it is you trying to accomplish. Them other hoes don't matter. But they do. They really, really, really do. Because the same thing they say about them niggas in Atlanta, they think the same motherfucking thing about you, because they were comfortable enough to say it to your motherfucking face.
Yep. And that's how and it's so ironic, right? Because that's how they look with Andrew Schultz, is how those women look with them. Like, damn, really? You don't see no connection between you and all the black women in Atlanta? And y'all are professional baddies. Like, y'all have a podcast where y'all are baddies, and that's what everybody knows y'all as. And in this moment, you rather smile in their face than have a little bit of conflict and controversy, and then later y'all, you know, now unlike them, they went on Twitter and doubled down like, fuck y'all, I ain't from Atlanta or whatever. I said what I said. But yeah, it's very interesting. And it also like highlights the transactional nature of a lot of these podcast guest appearances and shit. It's like, especially these Vibes podcasts, because like, we're not really talking about anything. We're not very studied. We're not very learned. We're not very deep. We're not very thoughtful. We're just going to be talking. And there's an avenue for that, because a lot of people want that. That's very entertaining to people. They don't want to think or be deep or all that. But you stumble into deep shit because you're just talking, and then bam, you got to deal with the repercussions of talking about that shit. There's podcasts I know where it's like, I forget the name of it now. I was one of the first podcasts I listened to. But it was just like these white dudes that did basically audio improv, meaning the conversation would just start talking and they just talk about weird shit on purpose that wasn't about anything. And the next thing you know, 2 hours passed. They've only tried to be funny, and they avoided every major divisive political. So there's no like, here's a joke about someone being trans. It's none of that. It's all just like, oh man, you ever think why they say carpenter bees? Or do you think they went to carpenter school? And then it's just all weird, you know, talking after that. That if you want vibes, go do that. But vibes off of like, I'm gonna talk about black women and their desirability, but not really. Hey, I'm just talking vibes. It's not gonna cover you, because motherfuckers gonna come and be like, hey, you should have did a better job, or don't talk about us.
Right, and also it's one of the things too where people have the right to double down, but I also have the right to judge you.
Yeah.
And me judging you as a black woman to a black woman, guess what? You can't pull a black woman card. Bitch, we on the same level. We on the same motherfucking page. You can't say, well, you got a dick you don't understand. You can't look me in my eye and play these same tricks that you play on everybody else. I can say, yes, you said it, but I also can call you out as a black woman and say you wrong. Just because you're a black woman and sometimes you can go out and say things, it does not always make you right.
Yep. All right, next voicemail. I think Amon left a couple.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Karen. This is Iman. So I'm listening to the Nemesis episode, and I too also had to stop watching true crime after I had the baby, only because I had postpartum depression. But I'm back now. I'm mentally healthy again, and so I'm watching them again. But now I have to watch a different kind. I have to make sure that there's actually a conclusion, and that I find out who does it and if they're in jail. Because I used to watch ones that just like were up in the air, but now, yeah. But also, I love this episode so much because when you told Karen, oh, but you don't have hearing problems, you don't have hearing loss, and she just laughed and laughed. It was the most beautiful sound, and if there was a translation under it, it'd be like, oh, silly husband, don't you know who I am? I'm Karen. If I want it, I'm going to get it. Here's the card. It made me feel so good. I was like, oh, I love Karen. I was like, I'm going to be Karen. So if you don't watch the Tribe Vibes content, Tribe Vibes have to work. They have to work hard. They cooking. Karen comes home to you cooking, and I love it. Oh, I want it. Honey, if you're listening to this episode,
get the kitchen.
Get the cooking.
Bye-bye. I love y'all.
You too.
That's hilarious.
Get the cooking, Greg. She did call back and left another voicemail the next day. But Karen is just Karen. She does what she's gonna do. You just gotta let her cook.
Hey, Ron, Karen, this is Iman. So 3 things as quickly as I can. First, did Karen ever find those wontons? Or Rod, if you went or something, did you ever find those wonton wraps?
Oh yeah, we found them because I just ordered them off of the Publix the Publix app and made it a pickup. So then we drove there and they brought them out to me. I didn't ask her where she got them from. I just was like, aha, I know how to get wontons. Don't matter if I can't find them. But people wrote in later to tell us where they are. I'm planning to go to the store soon, so I will double check to see if they were right.
I hope Karen got to make
it was good.
viral dish that you wanted to make, Karen.
She did get to make it.
I did.
We'll probably talk about it on Lip Smacking Good.
It was good.
Yeah, it was real good.
Second, about viral food. Yes, they really be doing too much with the reactions because my daughter talked me into going all around town to get marshmallows. And, of course, you have to have halal or vegan marshmallows or kosher marshmallows because you can't eat gelatin. And so I had to find all these marshmallows. And then we did it twice because the first round we used kosher marshmallows, and they have, used fish based gelatin, and it had the funny aftertaste. So then I went to Trader Joe's and got the vegan marshmallows, and we tried it again. And I was like, this just isn't hidden. It's like people were rolling their eyes back of their head, like, oh, it's so good. But it wasn't. It wasn't that great. And then cats. Yes, I love cats, Rod. And every time you talk about cats, I bristle a little bit, but I know it's jokes. But you are so right about they don't care about you, because my cat, he went and got a second family when unbeknownst to me, and then these little white children showed up at our door like, we're looking for Snowball. And then my cat, he comes around the corner, had him for years. We have photo albums, and they're like, oh, there's Snowball. And we're like, no, this is my cat. I was like, there's pictures. And he's like, oh, for 2 weeks he had a second family.
For 2 weeks.
But yes, all right, okay, bye. I love y'all.
That's hilarious. For 2 weeks, he done adopted a white family.
That's what's fucked up about y'all cat pets. That's what I call people that say they own cats. You can't own a cat. The cat owns you. But that's what's so fucked up is that y'all literally will bristle and get defensive, and that just ensures me that it's a cult. Like, that lets me know even more like this is 100% some cult shit, because I'm describing the cats accurately. And the reason many of y'all describe for loving them is what I'm saying. Like, cats so independent. You know, sometimes I come home, my cat's just acting like an asshole. Ha ha. Y'all think it's cute and funny. And then anyone outside the house is like, yeah, they kind of do act like some assholes. Like, whoa.
How dare you?
I know you're not talking about Mittens. Like, get out of here. You told me Mittens wasn't shit. That's why Mittens be with their side family on y'all ass.
They be side hustling.
With a whole new name. All right. Last one. Now, this person is a new caller and left 4 voicemails.
Okay.
We'll see.
Hey, Rod and Karen, it's Lavetta. It's my first time calling in, even though I'm a long-time listener, I guess. But I just wanted to say I had to calm down because on your show, I believe it was on Monday. No, I think it was Sunday with the gentleman, Chris. It's the Coon signing episode with Chris Lambert. And he started to get into that territory where he's like started dissing black women about how like we tend to take things out on the next guy, but he's not that guy. Same thing Common said in the song. But and then immediately after that, you played the clip from that white guy who was dunking on black women with the 2 black British guys, and I was just like, dude, this is what black women have to go through. We be over here minding our own bad bitches business, black women business, and motherfuckers be in our face, playing in our face every single day. We go online. Motherfuckers gotta say something about us. We ain't bothering y'all. Just leave us alone. We just over here trying to eat kale, become bad bitches, like Megan said, and minding our own damn business. And it's just like, and also, we don't get the grace. Yes, a lot of us might take it out on the next person, but we don't get the grace that other people get. And I've been in therapy for a long time, like 20 years. So I'm more self-aware than a lot of people are. But again, I still feel like black women don't get the grace to go through what they're going through, where other people get the grace. Black men get the grace, white men, white women, other kinds of men and women, they get the grace. But black women, we don't have a right to be upset about anything. We just got to take it and shut up about taking it. So there's that. And that's one thing I love about your show, that you are always giving Karen not only do you show her love, and it's so reaffirming to see, just to hear a black woman being loved the way you love your wife, as it should be, but also like...
Oh, she got cut off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, first of all, I was going to talk about Chris's comment. The thing about it, Chris was just talking about his personal experience. It was not a slight at you. And I do understand.
And I want to say real quick, I didn't think he was talking about black women. I thought he was talking about the woman he was dating. He had just recently broken up.
Agreed.
Who was a black woman, but he said many times, not all black women, not even most.
He
said
made
that
sure
many times
to kind of put that up front, right?
But go ahead.
But the thing is, I do understand your point, but at the same time, this was him talking about his experience. And sometimes when people have experiences with black women and they talk about their experiences with black women, because we've been traumatized so much in certain situations, we take things personally that are not a personal attack against us. I get that, but yes, Chris was not coming kind of at the group or at the collective. Like, he made sure to be specific about that when he was talking up front, because this was like his personal experience, and we're all not the same. Black women are all over the place. Black women can be some of these things that people are talking about. A lot of us not, but some of us are, and that's a fact. So he was just talking about his just personal experience. So I don't want you to think that it was a personal attack against you, because that's not how Chris meant it.
Yeah, I remember him specifically saying this is not about all black women and all that stuff. But also, I think comedically, he did like a thing where it's like, you don't want to say anything. And I think that's like a signal to people like, oh, you about to say something crazy. I didn't think he said anything crazy, but yeah. She did call back though. And she also sounds like that commenter on our YouTube. It makes me wonder if it's the same person.
Hey, it's me again. I'm getting all worked up. Anyway, but I just love the way to see how you reaffirm Karen's feelings and give her space to feel the way she wants to feel. And that's all we're asking as black women. Also, they're just mad at us because society has been trying to gaslight us into thinking that we're nothing. And we know that we all bad bitches and we be out here doing the thing. And we just don't have time for this foolishness. And they just mad about it. So anyway, I also want to say, I have my own issues, and I have a podcast. I would love for you guys to check it out. It's called the Notorious Women Podcast. Notorious Women Podcast. Would love to have you guys check it out. Let us know what you think. And I mean, hey, if you want me and my co-host to come on the show, I mean, I'm just saying. Anyway, also, I love the House of Dragons recap. I don't even watch the show, but Lord DEI will stay in my brain forever. So I love you both. Keep doing the good work. Keep entertaining us. Love you both. Support you guys. And thank you so much. And I will continue to listen. I might call back, especially after this Diddy stuff drops. Anyway, love you guys. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yes, ain't nothing wrong with being bad bitches eating kale looking like Megan Thee Stallion. That's the goal for me too, baby.
Hey, it's Lavette again. I know you guys are like, what is she doing? I just realized, I don't know if I wanted to clarify that I was just so impressed with you, Rod, about how you steered the conversation away from where I thought it was going. And you basically said what I just said, like for these last two messages. And I just really, really appreciate that but I also think because, like you said, you're an empath, so you understand it. You're able to see that, oh, well, maybe this is why Black women are responding this way. But it's not just Black women who have issues with men, like, and this foolishness that a lot of them be trying to serve to all of us. So, but I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that you are, you're one of the men, and there are a lot of men out there who are like yourself, and they understand. They're like, well, no, Black women aren't the only ones who are angry. A lot of people are angry. Mm-hmm. All of MAGA, that's what it is. Grievances, right. grievances. So yes. I just wanted to make that clear. And all right, love you guys. Bye-bye.
Agreed. That's their whole thing. They don't have nothing else. Grievances and racism.
Yeah, the stuff that gets assigned to people that have to deal with racism that is also racist. You know, I think that's why even if you believe the argument, which I do honestly, that it's the world is fucked up towards certain marginalized people, Black women being among some of the most, and of course, the reaction to it is like when you watch a basketball game and one guy elbows a guy. This is before instant replay. One guy elbows a guy, and then the ref doesn't call a foul on him. He calls a foul on the guy that elbows him back. And I feel like that's the gaslighting America does to marginalized people. And Black women obviously get it, you know, like twice as bad. You get the misogyny and you get and sometimes the homophobia. So you get the misogyny and you get the racism. And so to have people within your own group, we are all Black. If the Black man, Black woman, we're Black. To have someone be able to go, no, your pain though,
it don't count as much.
Nah, that's different. Like when it's pain that we both share and it's racial, yes, that counts. When it's your pain and it's something we said or did to you specifically about being a woman, now you just tripping.
Right.
You know?
We got the right to be mad. We got the right to be upset.
And like I was not trying to steer the conversation away from there. I legitimately, and then I guess if you're a long time listener, and I've said this on the show before, I felt bad about it. But I remember when we first had Chris Lambert on, I made a joke that he doesn't date Black women. That's not true.
No, that's not.
It was always a joke and understood to be a joke between me and him, and I made it a running joke. Like I remember, and it was all just to fuck with him, to be like, oh, you know, here's Chris Lambert, then you know he doesn't. And so, as a comedian, he like went along with it, even as he was like, come on, right? I didn't say that, but I feel bad because it did have the effect of some people believing that he felt that way. Right. Or like thinking that I was making a joke because it was true, not because it was my friend and I was being a dick to him in front of our Black audience. Anyway, I regret that joke because I didn't want anyone thinking some bullshit like that. If he really was that way, he wouldn't be on the show probably. But also, I would make fun of it. And and so I can see why it would be confusing, because like, oh, he's making fun of him because that's how it is, and I was making fun because that's how it isn't. Which, so anyway, all that stuff to say, I put him in a bad spot. So I think it'll always be a thing on our show when we talk about his dating life, and race is gonna come up in it, because I at this point I feel bad that I was even part of like putting that, you know, false information joke out there. That,
yeah, because it was all jokes.
Yeah, so now, you know, now I feel like, damn, did I fuck Chris up? You know, like, are people out there listening like, I know this nigga hate black women when it's not true?
It's not true at all.
I felt, that's back before I met the internet and knew that there were really black men out there that said and did shit like that.
Ain't that the truth?
And then I was like, oh, so that's why that's not funny. So anyway, she left one more voicemail.
Rod and Karen, it's Lavetta again. I'm ready to fight. In particularly, Soulless 5552. I don't know if I got that right. Anyway, calling back because they wrote a comment attacking Rod on, I guess basically they're saying they're accusing him of taking the guy's side and not the women's side, which is BS. And I think, Karen, you called it right away. Like, they're having an argument in their head with somebody on the internet, somebody else, and they brought it to Rod, who is doing the exact opposite of what they're accusing him of.
Right.
I digress. Again, black women got a lot of rage, a lot of anger, deservedly so, but
yes,
we also need to learn how to take it out on the right person.
Agreed.
But it's one of these things, these people might be in their silo, and like you said, Karen, they just needed an end to get into something that has been bothering them, so they wanted to call up and take it out on whomever that they could. So,
right.
But I'm still ready to fight, because how dare they? This is why I watch Snapped, and I take therapy and I watch Snapped. This is why I am not an angry black woman, only in my head still. But I just wanted to call, and I mean, Rod, you called it, and again, I think this goes to both of you's empathy. You're incredibly empathetic people, and you always try and give people grace and the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give grace to Soulless 550, 59, 56. I can't remember the correct number, but I'm going to give them grace as well. But I love you both. Keep doing the damn thing. Keep being awesome, and keep creating the space for us to just have fun, laugh at people and ourselves. Love you both. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
baby.
you.
That was sweet.
Yeah, and they never wrote back in, which, you know, I hope they don't. I honestly hope they didn't take any of that in some like personalized way or whatever. Because my only point was, we don't do that shit over here, so just don't lump us in with that, because I don't feel like I gave them any more grace than I give anyone else.
Right.
But everything you're saying is valid about life. That is facts.
Correct.
That is true. People absolutely will not give grace to black women for some shit they give grace to black men for.
I agree.
Just look at parenting. Look at there's a group of motherfuckers like, why should I pay child support? We would never. But I just didn't want it to go down that path. And honestly, I'm glad you called and left all these voicemails, because it's something I was thinking about in my head. Was like, yo, did we fuck the show up somehow? Like, we weren't hard enough. We let disrespect the black women fly on our airwaves. I can't see it. I don't know why we wouldn't have missed it. No one wrote in, no one in the chat room was, whatever. And so, I mean, and obviously, I don't think we did that, which is why I defended us from that accusation. But when you started talking, I was like, oh, maybe this might be the second person that feels something amiss was wrong with that conversation. We didn't go hard enough. And then you kept calling, and the fourth one, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then I'm definitely not tripping. Because I think I don't think anything bad happened on that show with Chris or with us talking about their apology or with the show after that. But I am sensitive to I want our podcast to be a place where we're honest and that we're not allowing that type of disrespect. I would like, I know it's impossible to do something 100% of the time, but I like our podcast to be the place where it's like, that would not go unchallenged, So I appreciate you calling in. It's very reassuring. All right. I'm gonna go straight to the emails. I'm tired, guys. Fuck a music. Fuck a song. Theron says, our daughter told us about renewing our passports online. She had done it and got her new passport within 2 weeks.
Ooh,
then my
that's
wife
quick.
did it, got her new passport within 2 weeks also. Still amazes me that we can now renew passports, government documents online, but still cannot vote online. Preach.
Right. That's something I do not understand.
Tell them. This is from C from Cleveland. Says, good afternoon, Rod and Karen. This is C from Cleveland, and I just want to start by saying I love y'all and I'm deeply grateful for you both. A little background. One of the last times I emailed, I was singing your praises about how your Anchor ad changed the game for my think tank research project, Noir 2020, which studied the lived experiences of black women in Northeast Ohio, with Bloomberg City Lab ranked the worst region in America for black women in 2020. Your then Anchor ad inspired us to re-record and upload 90-second podcast clips from our research and place them on Spotify in the voices of black women. Today, let me tell you how perfect and on time the universe is. Last week, I attended the Congressional Black Caucus in Washington, D.C., where I met Reese Colbert from Black Women Views, who you and Karen have talked about throughout the years, and as well as briefly mentioned on your podcast last week, I think in the feedback show. Yeah, she was a guest on here too. I love Reese. She's so smart and funny and stuff. She's a really dope person. And,
she a real one.
She really, she's petty in a way that I enjoy. I don't like, some people call it petty, but this is how I like my get down, where if she's on a podcast or a show or something and you come with some non-factual bullshit, she knows the facts and will take the time. And I appreciate that about her. I fangirled hard and told her how I learned about her work and advocacy years ago directly through the Blackout Tips. We exchanged contact info and shared the biggest smiles. Lastly, she hugged me saying, I love Rod and Karen. Truthfully, nearly fainted because girl, same. Aww. And she included a picture in this email of them at this event taking a picture together. So this is them here. I don't know what event they was at. They was dressed up. And they but also low key, they been dancing. Like they had a good time.
Yes!
What was that's what y'all be doing to see me. Maybe I should do something with the Congressional Black Caucus. I thought they was just doing some laws.
Look like if you zoom out, it is a party behind them.
Right.
And she just got a show on Sirius XM. Congratulations, baby.
Yeah, I think it's today. She's doing 2 hours every Saturday or something like that. She's I love Reese. She's amazing. We exchanged contact. Oh yes, and I said, girl, same. And then I just want you both to know that your high quality work promoting Black-centered civic education through humor, serious conversation, and spotlighting advocates has made a real impact. It helped shape the future of Project Noir 2024. We are forever grateful. Attaching a pic with Reese and a graphic about Project Noir 2024, which will be published October 1st, 2024. Excited to share our research with Ohio and the nation. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You have no idea how much you influence us and many others. From Cleveland. Oh man, that's so dope.
That's sweet. Thank you
that is so
much.
It's a small world, man.
Made my day. We got to get them back on the show if we can.
Yeah, this is the graphic.
Oh.
Yeah. And Cleveland was ranked the worst city in America for Black women 2020. How does? Damn. It's just hard out. It's just a bunch of Andrew Schultz out there, and then there's the picture of them at the party. So yeah, man, that's so dope. That is so dope. Thank you. John writes in, Diddy, etc. Good morning, Rod and Karen. Man, I was not ready for that Rich Lowry N-word slip. I almost crashed my car at that one. Not that it was any real surprise. I've seen this bullshit for over a decade, and this is about as surprising from him as it would be from Tucker Carlson. He always trafficked in racist dog whistles, so it was really just a matter of time before he said the quiet part out loud. I wonder if racist people have a hard time not saying the N-word as I do. You know, because I have a hard time. I be going on radio shows and stuff, and it be I get too comfortable. I be wanting to be like, Nick, so I don't slip up. I've only slipped up once or twice in my life, but I do wonder if that's how hard it is for them. It's not like they slip up every time. Just one day you mess up. Tucker Carlson say it like he said at home, but with a harder R. Speaking of trafficking, when I first heard about the Diddy accusation, my first thought was, dude, you have all the money in the world. Why not just fly your ass to Vegas, rent out the Bunny Ranch, pay a bunch of sex workers to play out your multi-day orgy scenario? Just make sure everyone's paid and consenting. Is all good. And indeed, it sounded like he knew enough to pay the male sex workers, but like you said, apparently having the women be amateurs and non-consenting was part of his big fantasy. The victimization was key to the turn on. So horrible. Have any of his defenders suggested he was trying to buy NBC yet? Not yet, but I know someone gonna say some dumb shit.
Not trying to buy NBC.
Yeah, it's gonna be Diddy was gonna buy. They always make. First of all, you know what? No, just. Because they haven't even made the argument. I'm already mad, like they've been saying it.
Right.
But I just know it's gonna be somebody out there that says they try to up the charitable and community side of the person as if that they was just a big altruist.
Right.
And that's what happens when these motherfuckers get in trouble and it's black dudes. They always try, well, you know, he gave $1 million to this university. I'm like, and the white man took him down? That don't even make sense. Oh, he gave too much to Howard. You know that's not why the fuck. And so all the women line, like it's just, Karen, did you just say that people pass their sex toys along to other people? What is happening here? Now I can't stop thinking about people keeping grandma's glass dildo in the china cabinet. And well, it's an heirloom. You want to keep it in the family? Y'all just, so wait,
I don't
John,
think you want to keep it up there in the china cabinet.
John, you just throwing out grandma's glass dildo?
Child.
Wow. White people different. I still got Big Mama dildo from 1935. Got it during the Great Depression. It was actually made out of metal back then because that was what new technology.
Was all they had.
Okay, they had it. They was rationing for the war, trying to save rubber. So they had to go with metal dildos back then. It's made out of tin. They made it at the dildo factory, which made a lot of money during the Great Depression because the men was at the war.
The men was gone.
And so, of course, you keep that in the family. You pass it down from generation to generation.
Apparently, it's an heirloom. I didn't know.
When the next woman reaches puberty, you hand them the tampon and grandma's dildo. No. What are y'all doing in the White household?
No, you do not.
And every black person you know does this. I just want you to know that.
These statements are false. Fake news.
We'll never admit it or say it.
Fake
confirm it.
News.
Well, in fact, we might even pretend to be offended if you bring it up. Like, who told you that?
Don't you believe that, man?
But this is what we do in our community. You should be loud about it.
No, we do not.
Tell your black coworkers.
You better not. You trying to get that person beat up. No, don't you believe, Roderick?
Tell your boss. Go on a Reddit board. Use your government name.
With your real picture.
In all seriousness, there are Reddit pages for unloaded unwanted sex toys to other people. So long as they're good condition and sanitized, it's a great little market, so I've heard. I mean, that's fine. I mean, maybe they want to like recycle or pay it for it. But what I would say is, you probably can make some money selling those, right? Because people buy used panties, they buy soiled panties. Like people buy a bunch. It's a market for it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's some real freaks out in this world. So it's interesting that the Reddit has a hand it down instead of like an exchange or a just buy it thing. Because I bet you, if I was an OnlyFans model, I'd never let a motherfucking good dildo go to waste. Okay, I'm selling that. I'll sing it a funeral song and everything. Broke the batteries in this one. How do I?
I'm wasting time washing drawers. This is some money.
Right. Yeah. Anyway. On a lighter note, as weird as that story was, I think we got to get a cucumber fucking man some props for creativity. Usually it's the cucumber doing the penetrating, not being penetrated itself. Well, I'm not sure he penetrated it. I thought it looked like he put his butt up to it. So I think it penetrated him. Flipping the idea on his head, if you will. Well, something. That said, by doing that in public, that guy really put himself in a pickle.
That's hilarious. They deserve the song. You deserved that one. That was good.
That was good.
That was
good.
yes. That was
really good.
That one deserved. That one deserved the song.
He says that is a situation I do not relish.
Yes.
That's
Two in
good.
a row.
That was good, John. Take a bow.
That's hilarious. Good job.
Steph G says, looking back, hey y'all, hope it's not too late for today's show. I've been thinking about the insurrection. I remember how these newspapers and magazines were saying how they'll take Trump more seriously. They'll report the truth. We're right back where we were in 2016. They're still saying watching him. The clicks are too addictive. I've been listening to old podcast episodes around the insurrection terms, and all these companies and institutions made promises about truth and honesty. They've all regressed. Yes, they have, sis. Well, anyways,
all that was temporary because guess what? That they need to make money, and you made money from clicks. You made money from interactions. You made money from going viral. None of these places are non-profit, and as long as they're not non-profit and or something that the federal government subsidized, this is the problem that you will always have unless you have somebody that has a lot of money, is determined to find the truth and be like, we gonna do the truth no matter how much it costs, and willing to invest the time, the money, the budget, the people, and all these things. You will continue, particularly in the States, you will continue to have this problem. You're just going to, because as long as it's for profit, who gives a fuck about the truth? We just want people here. We want them here, and all news did was mimic the internet. Now the internet, they get news from the internet. It was never supposed to be like this.
She says, well, anyways, I don't know why I depressed myself by doing that, but I thought I needed to revisit that time period. Right? You said something on episode 2253 about how these white social media owners' idea of free speech isn't the same as everyone else because they don't have any natural predators. That is why the N-word went up the N-word went up 400% after Elon bought the app, but you can't say cis. Yeah, like CIS, he's trying to treat like a slur. They want to get rid of discrimination laws, DEI, and such, but the training wheels need to stay on. Thanks for reading nonsense, LOL, Steph. P.S. I'm on a workout journey myself. I lost 13 pounds already. The hardest thing for me is the product intake. It's very hard. Yeah, the eating all this, because I'm lifting weights, so it's not a straight line of weight loss really, even though I am losing weight or whatever. But the hardest thing for lifting weights and all that stuff is, to me, the protein intake is just, oh my God.
For your muscles.
They be like, yeah, so you need to eat like 8 eggs. I'm like, 8 every day? What the fuck, nigga? What's wrong with y'all? Like, then you need to eat 20-gram protein yogurt.
That's like, you need protein, sir.
You gotta buy a rotisserie chicken and just rip chunks off of it like a caveman. Like, damn. Eat it. Just jump into a lake, eat a whole tuna, just eat it while it's raw. You need the protein.
You need protein. Get your protein up.
All right, last one. Mission accomplished, says Alicia. Hi. I know I'm late, but I just want to say thank you for that free pregame episode last week. It came at the right time, reminding me that I needed to go premium. Well, you have a new subscriber now. I miss Justin's crazy perspective on things. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. You. That's awesome, because I put it out, one, kind of just for people to know, like, I know y'all gonna want to hear us talk about this.
Yeah, y'all gonna want our opinions.
Who knew Shannon Sharp? Who knew?
Anyway. Yeah, at the time, before we even scheduled the show, who knew?
Right. And so I put it out for that reason. I said, well, maybe some people will hear it and go, you know what? Fuck it. I want to get behind the paywall. This is fun. They do this like every week. That's awesome.
It is so much fun behind the paywall.
I never know if anyone's going to do it, but we had a few people that did subscribe and that heard me when I talked about how, hey, if you're really having issues with PayPal, email me and we can figure something out with Cash App or something. And I have been doing that. So people have been responding. As always, being premium is the best way to support this podcast. It's money we can count on. It's money no one else splits with us. We just get it. It's not an ad. It's not, it's nothing finicky. It's $15 a month it's basically $15 a month or $150 for the year. And we have sales every Black Friday and at a random month like April or something called coronavirus. And we have those sales. Those sales are $100 for the year, which is basically $8 a month to listen to the show behind the paywall, which is a bunch of bonus shows, sports, We have a sports podcast, nerd podcast, food podcast. We have a podcast with just us shooting the shit with our friend Justin, who used to be on the show all the time. Movie reviews, you get them when they come out. Everyone else has to wait a month or two.
Right.
So like, we do a lot of hard work, and it's the best way to support us. It's the best way to make sure that we continue to be able to do this. And we use that money as a business, not just to pay me, but also when we want to plan an event and we have to rent out a venue. All that stuff is you make the budget for this show.
Yes, you do. We're able to do things like, it's things that we're planning and things like this, and we're able to do it because of the people that donate and the people that go premium. These are the things that actually matter.
So thank you for signing up, and thank you to anyone else that wants to sign up or tries to sign up. We appreciate y'all, man.
A lot.
All right, that's it. This is long. Hopefully this shit all goes up to YouTube and stuff. And we'll be back tomorrow with Dee. I think she was the co-host of the Bad and Boozy podcast. She's been a guest on the show a few times. And she's gonna talk about that annual run that she does for her mom who passed, Team Pam Dukes. So we'll be talking with her, and because she's a fan of the show, we'll probably get to do some segments and talk about some of these freaky ass niggas from Friday that got busted with these sex scandals.
Yeah, because I still ain't heard everything. It was a lot dropped Friday.
It's gonna be a lot. All right, y'all, that's it. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening.